So good afternoon, everyone. We'll start in 2 minutes. The state recognizes the vital role of information and communications technology in nation building and its inherent obligation to ensure that personal information in information and communication systems in the government and in the private sector are secured and protected. With this in mind, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, in partnership with recognizes the vital role of information and communications technology in nation building and its inherent obligation to ensure that Sorry for that technical lapse. With this provision in mind, the DICT, or the Department of Information and Communication Technology, Luzon Cluster 2, and the Department of Education, Calabarzon, prepared this webinar entitled Data Privacy Act and Philippine National Public Key Infrastructure Awareness Webinar. So, your facilitator for today is yours truly, Attorney Jocelyn B. Buklig, the Regional Legal Officer of DepEd, Calabarzon. Before we start, let us first determine what are our objective in this webinar. So the first one, as part of the implementation of the fourth pillar of the National Cybersecurity Plan 2022, which is the protection of each individual, this webinar aims to raise the level of awareness of the public on the importance of cybersecurity. Number 2, help educate, empower, and protect the individuals in cyberspace. And number 3, strengthen the awareness of participants to data privacy. So before we proceed with the program proper, may we remind you of some guidelines and reminders. This webinar is recorded for documentation purposes and will be posted on YouTube. It is actually live streaming right now in the Luzon Cybersec Luzon Cluster 2 YouTube channel. So turn off your microphone and camera. Do not share your screen or do any annotations. 4, observe proper decorum and etiquette. 5, use the chat box or question and answer form when you have a question. The chat box that we are referring is the chat box in this Google Meet. And the question and answer form can be viewed via the link provided. The link is also provided in the chat box of this Google Meet. Next. Certificates will be provided to those who have attended the full duration of the webinar, answered the post-evaluation form, passed the quiz with at least 70% points. So the post-evaluation form and the quiz are merged into one, and you can access it through the link provided after. Input valid and active email address when filling out the post-evaluation form, and the cutoff time is tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. And then lastly, you can again view or watch this webinar through the Cybersecurity YouTube channel. The link is also provided, this one. So let me introduce the partner agencies in this webinar. So we have the Department of Information and Communications Technology. The Department of Information and Communications Technology shall be the primary policy, planning, coordinating, implementing, and administrative entity of the executive branch of the government that will plan, develop, and promote the National ICT Development Agenda. Among the notable projects of the DICT are 1. Free Wi-Fi for all. Number 2. The National Cybersecurity Plan 2022. And the Philippine National Public Key Infrastructure. The second partner agency is the Department of Education. So sa atin po. So our mandate, the Department of Education shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality basic education and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. The Department of Education shall establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of basic education relevant to the needs of the people and society. It shall establish and maintain a system of free and compulsory public education in the elementary level and free public education in the high school level. The program that we are implementing right now in DepEd Calabarzon is the DepEd Calabarzon Pivot for a Cube. To welcome us in this seminar, we have si Ma'am Ruth, ready na ba? So to welcome us in this seminar, we have the Assistant Regional Director of DepEd Calabarzon, Dr. Ruth L. Fuentes.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ellen. Good afternoon, Luzon, the beautiful people from the whole of Luzon. I just learned na Luzon-wide pala ito. I thought I would be addressing Calabarzon people. But anyway, thank you all, especially to those who just joined in. We live in a democracy, and I think safeguarding the rights of everyone, especially in terms of the right to information, is everyone's concern. Especially now that we are into new normal, this is very this activity is very appropriate and timely because the only means of transferring learning, the only means also of connecting to people from all walks of life is through social media, through other platform involving the use of technology. But in using such or in availing such, we should not negate, or we should not we should also consider the rights of everyone, most especially the learners. Under the new modality, the parents, the teachers, and all in the educational sectors must be vigilant in safeguarding the the rights of our learners, no? Kasi I spoke with a group of principals earlier, and I think one observation in the online class is there are parents who fail to monitor how their kids or how their learners are using their gadgets. So anyone can access to all sites now, but the more reason that the adults like us should be careful. We should be vigilant in really looking after our children. As I have mentioned, we have the right to information, but we have to ensure that our privacy is not compromised. No, let's use it let's use it to our advantage, but at the same time, let's ensure also that we are safeguarding the privacy of each one. No, na wala tayong bina-violate talaga na rights ng bawat isa. So I hope this activity will somehow strengthen the Data Privacy Act and other concerns regarding the use of technology. Thank you for allowing our region to host this activity. To our partner agencies, maraming salamat. I hope we all learn from this, and we will emerge full of knowledge, skills, and better attitudes towards all these things. So maraming salamat and good afternoon.
Thank you sa ating Assistant Regional Director ng DepEd Calabarzon. So aside from our Assistant Regional Director, may we also have a welcome remarks from Engineer Reynaldo T.C., the Director, Luzon Regional Cluster 2, Department of Information and Communications Technology.
Good afternoon, everyone. Natutuwa kami makita na binibigyan ng malaking kahalagahan ang Data Privacy Act at ang Philippine National Public Key Infrastructure. Dahil sa nangyaring pandemic, nabigyan ng emphasize sa paggamit natin ng ICT. Nabigyan ng importansya ang ICT at Internet. Napabilis din ang ating pag-adapt sa mga technology. Halos natin ginagawa ay may kahalong ICT. Mula umaga hanggang gabi, kung di tayo na computer, naka-cellphone tayo. Dahil dito, mas namakay natin exposure sa data. At kakaibat ng ating paghawak ng malaki ang data, ay kakaibat din ito ang tamang pangalaga ng mga datos. Sabi nga sa isang pelikula, with great power comes great responsibility. That's why, ang datos na hawak natin ay ating responsibilidad. Kaya kailangan natin pangalagaan. Dahil ang mga datos ay pwede magamit sa pag-breach ng privacy o kasarilan ng ating mamamayan na pwede rin magamit sa identity theft. Hindi naman pangalaga ng data ang dapat natin bigyan ng pansin, kundi pati ang pag-process ng ating data. Kailangan siguraduhin natin ng mga interesadong tao lamang ang mag-handle at pag-process ng tamang data. Dito pumapasok ang kahalagahan ng PNPKI. Dahil sa PNPKI o digital signature, ay masisiguro natin ang identity ng tao na tumatanggap at nagpa-process ng documents. Kung kaya natutuwa kami at binigyan ng halaga ang webinar na ito upang may palaganap natin kahalagahan ng Data Privacy Act at National Public Key Infrastructure para sa tamang pag-identify ng mga otorisadong personnel. Maraming salamat sa aming partners sa pag-imbita sa DICT. Salamat din sa ating speaker mula sa National Data Privacy Commission at sa ating partners sa Cybersecurity Bureau ng DICT. At higit sa lahat, salamat sa inyong pag-attend sa aming webinar on Data Privacy Act at PNPKI. Muli, isang mapagpalang hapon po sa ating lahat.
So, thank you, Engineer C, the Director for Luzon Regional Cluster 2 of the DICT. Okay, so for our first topic, Data Privacy Act of 2012 are set of guidelines to enforce the protection of personal information and sensitive personal information from unlawful and illegal processing of information. To give us further information on the matter, we have Mr. Leo Martinez, Information Technology Officer 2 of the National Privacy Commission. Mr. Martinez is a former professor at National University, a certified ISO internal auditor, a certified accreditor at Philippine Association of Colleges and Universities Commission on Accreditation, and a certified lead auditor for Information Security Management Systems. He has served as resource speaker on data privacy for various public and private agencies, such as Department of Education, Commission on Higher Education, Department of Health, Department of Information and Communications Technology, Department of Interior and Local Government, Philippine National Police, and the Civil Service, among others. He is currently connected with the National Privacy Commission's Compliance and Monitoring Division as Information Technology Officer 2, and is likewise the Assistant Project Head of the PhilDPO Development Program, who manages the DPO ACE Training and Certification Program. Mr. Cleo Martinez? Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, DepEd. Ayan, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Okay, salamat po sa introduction, Miss Jocelyn. Am I loud and clear?
Yes, sir. You are loud and clear, sir.
So let me share my screen first. Okay. Pwede na ba ako mag-share? Okay. Yun. Okay. So, after this webinar, you will know what the law is all about and how it will affect you. So, in all of our webinars, lagi namin itong tinatanong, which is more important for you? Is it data or is it money? Ano nga ba? Or equally important ba? Ayan. Tingnan natin, no? Okay. Yung ibang sasagot kasi data, yung iba sasagot money. Yung iba hindi naman alam kung ano. So, tingnan natin kung ano nga ba talaga yung mas mahalaga. With this example, no? This was on the news. A public school teacher received a notification from 3 banks saying that he borrowed a total of 800,000. Pero he denied applying for the loan. So what happened here? Kasi kakapasa lang pala niya sa LEP, no? And because of his excitement, he posted a photo of his ID, yung PRC ID online. And this happened. So ano nangyari? Nagkaroon ng identity theft. So yung mga identity thief was able to get a copy of his ID. And yun yung ginamit niya in applying for loan. As easy as that. So ngayon, ano mas mahalaga? Is it data or is it money? Yan. Okay. So for you to understand better, ito pa. I'll give you an example of breaches, mga potential and yung breach talaga na nangyari na. Okay. So number 1, Comelec or sa Comelec nangyari to, no? So there was a hacking incident. And the hackers were able to hack, no, yung database. So nagkaroon sila ng copy ng database ng mga voters. And right now, who has a copy of this database? It was uploaded online. So iba-iba yung nakakuha ng copy, no? Maybe this is one of the reason why we are receiving, no, unsolicited text, unsolicited email, or even calls. Kasi nga, iba-iba yung nakakuha nung yung database, no? So maswerte pa tayo kung ganun lang nangyari sa atin, ano? Nakaka-receive ng text, email. What if the same thing happened to us dun sa teacher na ginamit yung personal data in applying for loan? Yon, di ba? So napaka-importante ng ating data, no? Next. So ito naman, nagkaroon ng breach because of a logbook. So there was a recruitment agency. So gumagamit siya ng logbook. Yung logbook, di ba, may mga parang notebook na may mga line. So kinukuha kasi nila yung yung name at saka yung cellphone number. And mayroong isang person who was able to take a picture of the logbook. Nakita niya. So maraming nakalista doon. And itong nakakuha ng picture na to, he posed, no, or nagpanggap siya as one of the staff ng recruitment agency. And nakapag-solicit siya ng money doon sa mga nakalista doon. Okay. So nagkaroon ng breach. And anong pagkakamali ba dito, no? Hindi naman po bawal yung paggamit ng logbook. Hindi po bawal. Ang kaya lang, ang pagkakamali dito, ano ba yung purpose ng logbook? Di ba po ay to monitor the visitors, no, coming in and out, no? So ano ba nga kailangang data dito? Yung pangalan, di po ba? Kailangan pa ba pati yung cellphone number or telephone number? So hindi na po kailangan. So nagkaroon po rito ng over-collection, no? So hindi na naging proportional yung data na kinolect doon sa purpose. Dapat po kasi yung data na kinokollect natin ay proportional doon sa purpose, kung ano lang yung kailangan. So collect only what is needed for the purpose. So ito nangyari dahil kinolect pati yung telephone, nakuha tuloy ng iba. Ayan. Okay? So what's the remedy for this? So the remedy for this, yun na nga. So bawasan nyo yung kinokollect yung information, collect only what is needed. And yung iba naman, gumawa sila ng ibang way, no, or method. Individual visitor slip ang ginagawa nila para hindi makita ng iba yung mga nakasulat na. Yung iba naman pwede, so kailangan kasi secured yung mga nakasulat na. Yung iba, tinatapan nila, no? They cover kung ano man yung mga nakasulat na. So yun po. No? Again, hindi po bawal yung paggamit ng logbook, no? So kailangan lang ay collect only what is needed for the purpose, kung ano lang yung kailangan, and dapat secured. Katulad na lang ng mga contact tracing, di ba? Yung mga contact tracing. Siyempre, pinapasulat nila, di ba? Yung mga data subjects, kung sino man, halimbawa, may isang establishmento, pumasok doon, nagsusulat ng pangalan, kinukuha din yung number dito. So, dapat po, protektado kung ano man yung mga nakasulat doon. Hindi basta-basta nakikita ng kung ano-ano, no? No, kung sino-sino. Okay, so ito naman, list of top student passers. Okay, may nagreklamong student, nireklamo niya yung school because di ba yung mga school nagpapagawa ng tarpaulin? Yan, yung mga banner or streamer na malalaki. And then, nandun yung picture at saka yung pangalan ng mga top-notcher. So, nagreklamo hulaan nyo kung sino, yung top 2. Bakit kaya nagreklamo? Top 2 nga. Okay, so bakit? Nagreklamo siya dahil hindi naman lahat ng tao, no, ay gusto pating na pa-publish or na yung mukha nila na expose publicly. And ito po ay pinabli or pinablish or pinost without his consent, no? Meron po kasing mga proseso, no? Katulad ito, proseso ito no, yung pagpo-post na kailangan hingin ng paalam, no? Kailangan hingin ng paalam doon sa may-ari ng personal data. So ang personal data po doon ay yung picture niya at saka yung kanyang pangalan. Yan. So nagreklamo siya dahil walang consent, hindi siya hininga ng paalam. Yon. At saka nakakosa kanya ito ng kumbaga merong negative, no, or consequence dun sa pangyayaring yon sa pagpo-post. Yon. Okay, so next time, yan, lalo na sa mga school, no, sa school kadalasan nagpapagawa ng ganyan. Ang remedy for this ay kunin na po yung consent ng mga student. Ano yung hihingan nyo ng consent? Doon pa lang sa admission stage. No? Katulad niyan, humihingi ng paalam na maaring i-post yung kanyang picture at saka yung kanyang pangalan pagka siya ay kasama sa top notcher. Yan, ganon, no? Or iba pa, lahat pa ng ibang hinga na kailangan nga na paalam. Number 4, another example, ito naman happened to hospital. So merong concerned employee of the hospital ay nag-report sa NPC. Kasi nga concerned siya doon sa hospital nila, yun daw kanilang patient records. Nakalagay lamang sa isang room na wala man lang lock, no? Tapos nasa sahig nga lang iba. So nagpunta kami doon, nakita nga namin ganun yung situation, and so we released an order. So sinunod naman nila, wala pa naman breach na nangyari, no? Pero yon, so inayos na nila yung kanilang storage area, nilagyan ng lock, nagkaroon ng cabinet with lock. Ayun, so nagkaroon na ng protection yung kanilang mga patient records. Sensitive po itong mga records na to, no? Dahil health records, yan, considered sensitive personal information. Any health records. Next, online lending. Ayan, baka may biktima sa inyo nito. So, nagkaroon ng mga complaint, no? Dumami bigla tungkol dito sa online lending. Ano ba yung nangyayari dito? Kasi mayroong mga pautang online, di ba? Kaya mga mobile apps. Pero bago ka makapangutang, you have to approve, no? Or you have to give permission to access your contacts. Yung contacts, yung nasa cellphone nyo, kung ano man niya, kung sino, kaibigan, kamag-anak, client, yung pala, ang paggagamitan pala nito, hindi sinabi. So, walang transparency. Kaya pala, hininga na permission to access contacts. Kapag ikaw ay hindi nakabayad, ay kukontakin yung mga contacts na to, sasabihin na hindi ka marunong magbayad ng utang, sisiraan ka. Okay? So dahil dito, marami po ang na-depress, no? Yung mga napahiya dahil sa kahihiyan. Merong na gusto magpakamatay, merong nakuna, nagkasakit, etc. Kaya po sila nag-complain dito nga dahil doon sa ginawa doon sa kanila. And hindi lang yun ng utang, pati po yung mga kinontak, no? Pati yung mga contact nagreklamo din. Kasi nga, bakit sila kinontak? Akala nila kinukuha silang guarantor. Yon. So nagulat sila. So dapat po kasi sa pagpuproseso, katulad nito, no? Pag-process ng personal data, meron pong transparency. Alam kung para saan gagamitin, yung purpose kung saan. Okay? Next, raffle. Okay, paano naman nasali yung raffle dito? Di po ba sa raffle ay kinukuha yung ating number, pangalan, address, etc. Okay? Alam nyo ba yung iba kaya lang nagpaparaffle? Because nag-iipon sila ng ating mga personal information at binibenta nila ito sa iba. Binibenta po, pinagkakakitaan. Usually sa telemarketers. So maswerte pa rin tayo kung doon lang, no? Paano kung ibenta yan sa black market or yung sa mga fraudsters, yan, scammers. Yan, delikado talaga, no? Kaya pagka nagpaparaffle, siguraduhin nyo sa raffle lang gagamit. Dapat sinasabi nyo nagpaparaffle na sa raffle lang yan gagamitin. Ha? And dapat protected po yung mga personal information. So, hindi basta-basta dapat tinatapon kung saan-saan yung mga raffle stub. Di ba? Halimbawa kasi, naitapon, may nakapulot, kunwari nga, budol-budol or mga fraudster or scammer, natatawagan kunwari, punta po kayo rito sa hospital, nandito yung parents nyo. Yan, magdala kayo ng pera. Okay, so ganun usually nangyayari na rampant sa Pilipinas, hindi po ba? Okay? So yan po yung mga examples natin ng breaches. So iwasan natin po mangyari yan, ano? Okay. Ito pa. Ito, during pandemic, ang dami nangyaring ganyan. Pero ito kasi it was on the news. Yung NUPEP squad coach cries for harassment. So ito naman, paano siya na-harass? Dahil sa contact tracing. Yung kanyang personal data nakuha sa contact tracing. At siguro nakita siya nung parang stalker, no? Sinundan, Okay, nakuha yung kanyang telephone doon sa telephone tsaka pangalan doon sa sinulatan niya. And tinawag-tawagan siya, itinext siya, inad sa Facebook, kung ano-anong message pinadala. Yun na nangyari. Parang yung kanina din, di ba? Yung sa logbook, parang ganun din. No? Kaya yung mga nagpapa-contact tracing, no? Dapat secured yung inyong mga personal data na pinasulat. Hindi dapat nadi-disclose kung kani-kanino. Kaya ang gaya na sabi ko kanina, a possible security measures, a security measure that can be used is yung simple lang na cover, no? Pinocoveran, yung mga nakasulat na. Yan, di ba? So hindi kasi dapat nakikita ng iba. Yan. Ito pa, isa pa. During the pandemic, na-disclose yung identity ng merong COVID. And what happened? Because of this, ayan, pinagbabato yung bahay nila. Okay? So yan ang consequence talaga na matindi, di ba? So hindi basta-basta dapat kasi dinidisclose yung mga identity kahit may COVID man o wala. Katulad nito, may COVID. Di ba? So yan ang nangyari. Kasi yung iba gusto ipa-disclose eh. Pero hindi pwede, no? Hindi pwede yon. Pwede natin i-disclose pero hindi publicly. Doon lang sa mga authorized officials, authorized agency ng government. Like for example, the DOH. Okay. So, kapag yung inyong organization, business, company, ayan, ay napatunayang hindi pinapangalagaan yung personal data or information, ayan, pwede kayo magkaroon ng loss of reputation, loss of market share, and legal liabilities. No? Meron kasing karampatang parusa. And these are the key terms that you must take note and remember. Number one, data subject. So, an individual whose personal information or sensitive personal information or privileged information is being processed. So, kayo po, tayong lahat ay data subject. Kung sino yung may-ari ng personal information na pinaprocess. Ang tawag po doon ay data subject. Okay, next, processing. Any operation of any set of operations performed upon the personal data, including but not limited to the collection, recording, organization, ayan, marami, no? So, mula collection hanggang sa disposal ng data. Ayan. Okay, so ito po yung graphical presentation. So from creation, for example, ano yan? Kung nagsulat ka ng pangalan, etc. doon sa isang form na nasa papel, that is processing. O kaya through an online form sa isang website, processing din po yun. Nag-type ka sa computer, in-encode mo, that is processing. Nag-delete ka, that is processing. Sinave mo sa flash drive, that is processing. Okay? Pinamigay mo yung copy, nagpo-photocopy ka or kung ano man, in-email, that is processing. Tinapon mo, in-shred mo, processing pa rin yun. Nandun kasi yung personal data. At ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito ay electronic or digital or physical copy. No? So lahat po ng form kasama po dito. Okay? So, yun po yung processing. Katulad niya, pinost, pinagawa ng tarpaulin, that is processing. So, ang sinasabi sa batas, dapat yung ating pagpoproseso ay naaayon dun sa mga Data Privacy Act na principles na ibibigay ko mamaya, na i-explain ko mamaya isa-isa. Okay? So, yun po, no? Processing. Next, Personal Information Controller or PIC for short. So, natural or juridical person or any other body who controls the processing of personal data. Okay, dito tayo papunta muna tayo sa DepEd, for example. No? So, DepEd, siya mismo, no? Yung DepEd mismo, yun yung Personal Information Controller. Okay po? Yun yung juridical person. Katulad kami, National Privacy Commission. So, yun po yung PIC or Personal Information Controller. Controller kasi nagko-control ng processing of personal data. Yung nagde-decide kung ano yung gagawin doon sa personal data. Or instructs another to process personal data on its behalf. Okay? So pwede ring instruct another. Okay. So ito pa isa. So again, ito yung mga terms na ginagamit dito lang sa batas na to. Personal Information Processor or PIP. So juridical person din siya. Okay. This time, ito po yung mga in-outsource or instructed para mag-process ng personal data on the behalf. For example, si DepEd ay nag-utos sa isa pang kumpanya para i-process yung payroll. Kumbaga inutusan para gawin yung payroll, i-process. Ang tawag dun sa company na yun ay PIP or Personal Information Processor. Yon. Okay, wag po kayo malilito, no? Actually po, lahat naman ay, pati itong PIP ay Personal Information Controller din. So, kung yung gumawa ng payroll ay nagiging PIP lang siya kasi inutusan siya, kumbaga, in-outsource. So, nag-iiba yung term para lang ma-establish yung relation. So, yun po yun. PIC, pag inutusan yung another PIC, yung PIC na yun magiging PIP, yung in-outsource. In-outsource. Katulad ng security agency, in-outsource mo. Okay? So, pwede yung PIP. Pero technically, lahat ay PIC. Okay? So, a personal information processor should not make use of personal data for its own purpose. So, halimbawa, inutos lang sa'yo to process the payroll, hindi mo yan pwedeng gamitin for another purpose. Okay? Next, the Data Protection Officer. Ayan. Alam niyo ba kung sino ang Data Protection Officer ng DepEd? Okay. So it is si Sir Tonicito, di ba? Umali. Okay. So ano yung Data Protection Officer? So ayon sa batas magtalaga, lahat ng mga organization, agency, public man o private na magtalaga ng isang individual who will be accountable for ensuring the compliance of the organization to the DPA. Okay? Siya yung magiging champion or siya yung magli-lead or mag-initiate para maging compliant yung organization dun sa DPA. So mamaya explain ko pa ulit further kung ano yung DPO or Data Protection Officer. Okay? So yun po yung mga role, Yung data subject, tayong lahat, personal information controller, and personal information processor. Okay, now let's go to the classification of personal data. So meron tayong tinatawag na personal information, Okay, so it is any information from which the identity of the individual is apparent. Apparent, obvious, makikilala. So kung hindi siya makikilala, ay hindi mo matatawag itong na personal information. For example, pangalan. Diba, Cleo, yan. Pangalan lang. Makikilala mo na ba yon agad kung yun lang yung provided? So hindi pa, Pero pag kaya dinagdagan mo ng middle name, tapos meron pang last name. Okay, so pwede nang makilala. So doon pa lang natin matatawag na personal information. At ito pa, hindi lang pangalan, Pwede rin kasi tayong makilala, kahit walang pangalan. Like for example, student ID number, tapos alam yung eskwelahan. Okay, so that will eventually lead to the identity of the individual. And that can also be considered personal information. Di ba? Okay, pwede tayong makilala. So, iba't ibang number. Pwede rin, account number. Yan. Okay? So, it can also be any information when put together with other information can reasonably and directly identify an individual. So, pwede rin po yun. Dalawang information pag pinaghalo ay pwede nang makilala. For example, address and birthday. Yan. Kahit walang pangalan, pwede rin pong mag-lead yun doon sa identity ng individual. Kunwari, may database, may hinahanap kang tao, Pero alam mo yung pangalan, ay yung ano lang, yung address and birthday. So pagka nag-query ka doon, okay, syempre lalabas kung saan nakalink na pangalan yon. So, yon. Again, hindi porket walang pangalan, ito ay hindi na personal information. So pwede pong maging personal information kahit walang pangalan, no? Basta magli-lead doon sa identity, no, ng individual. Personal information na po yan. Okay, next. Sensitive personal information. Now, nandun po sa ating batas, specifically nakalist lahat ng sensitive personal information. Kung ano yung nakikita nyo ngayon sa screen, yan po yung ating sensitive personal information. Individual's race, ethnic origin, marital status, age, color, religious, philosophical, political affiliation. Okay. So ano mapapansin nyo pag alam nyo yung mga information na ganyan? So pwedeng ma-put at harm, no? Or ma-at risk yung data subject pagka alam mo yung mga yan. Katulad ng discrimination, di ba? Pwede magkaroon ng discrimination kapag alam mo yung race, di ba? Age, color, religious. Okay. Next, individual's health. So yung patient records, mga diagnostic result, yan. Education. Education, ang dami. Student records, di ba? Yung mga diploma, transcript. So yan po ay education. So sensitive po yan, no? Genetic or sexual life or to any proceeding for any offense committed or alleged to have been committed by the individual. Kasama po yan sa sensitive. And ito pa, government-issued personal numbers, SSS, GSIS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, etc. Lahat po yan ay sensitive. Okay? Again, kung ano lang po yung nakalista rito, yan lang po yung sensitive. Okay? So pag wala dito, personal information lang siya, hindi sensitive. And why do we have to distinguish sensitive from non-sensitive? Okay, ganito lang yan. Kapag sensitive personal information ang involved sa isang case, no? Mas mataas po kasi ang penalty kapag sensitive personal information. Okay? So yun lang po yun. Next is data breach. Refers to a breach of security leading to the accidental, unlawful destruction, loss, alteration, unauthorized disclosure. Yan. So lahat po yan. So para mas malinaw, meron tayong 3 types of breaches. Number 1, availability breach, resulting from loss, accidental or unlawful destruction of personal data. Okay, availability, for example, there's a flood or fire. Nasira ngayon yung mga records or may personal data, no, or information and walang backup. So, hindi na available, no? Kaya yan, ang tatawag doon ay availability breach. Kaya napaka-importante nung backup. No? Napaka-important. Yun yung security measure to prevent yung availability breach. Next, integrity breach, resulting from alteration of personal data. So, dapat hindi basta-basta na edit or na alter yung mga personal data. Katulad niya, student grades, di ba? Hindi pwedeng basta nababago yan. Kunwari, nasa system nyo na, di ba? So, hindi pwedeng basta-basta nababago. Kunwari, babaguhin mo yung bagsak, pumasa, ganyan. Okay? Unless merong merong talagang nagkamali, tas ni-request, ipabago. Yun, iba yun, no? Pero iba rin yung lalo na yung unauthorized na merong magbabago. Okay? So, we must always protect the integrity of the personal data. Kasi pwede magkaroon ng integrity breach. Another is confidentiality breach, resulting from unauthorized disclosure of or access to personal data. So, kailangan laging confidential. No? We must maintain the confidentiality of the personal data. For example, sa isang HR, di ba? Sa HR division, maraming files yan, lalo na yung 201 files. Yung 201 files, napaka-confidential niyan, di ba? And then yung mga personal data natin, tsaka kung ano-ano pang nakalagay dyan. So, hindi pwedeng basta kung sino-sino na lang ang makakakita niyan. Kaya, so you should always protect and maintain the confidentiality of the data. Kasi pwedeng ang tawag doon pagka, ayan, na disclose, no? Unintentional or intentional, ayan, that is confidentiality breach. So, tandaan natin yan na CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, yun yung types of breaches, and yan din yung dapat natin maintain, no? Doon sa data, yung confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, this is the National Privacy Commission. Ayan, composed of yan, yung ating Privacy Commissioner Raymond Liboro with 2 other Deputy Commissioners, Attorney Naga and Attorney Aguirre. This is the structure of RA 10173. There are 37 sections. So the bulk, no, na dapat yung malaman ay nandun sa 11 to 21. Yung rights of data subjects, obligations of PICs and PIPs. Okay, the short title of short title of this law is yung Data Privacy Act of 2012. And yung kanyang pinaka-description is an act protecting individual personal information and communication systems in the government and the private sector, creating for this purpose the National Privacy Commission. So 2012 po yung batas, pero yung National Privacy Commission was established nitong 2016. Okay. And where is privacy in all of this? So the law upholds the right to privacy by protecting individual personal information. So the NPC protects individual personal information by, okay, so paano pinaprotektahan? By regulating the processing of personal information. And sino po ba yung mga nagpo-process? So ang nagpo-process ay yung mga PIC at saka PIP. In other words, yung mga kumpanya, organization, mga government agencies, lahat po, no? Lahat yan, buong Pilipinas. So napakarami po nang nire-regulate ng NPC. Public and private. So ito po yung mandato ng NPC to administer and implement the Act and to monitor and ensure compliance of the country with international standards set for personal data protection. International kasi po itong ating batas ay patterned majority ay patterned after GDPR, no, which is an international law. And these are the functions of NPC: rule making, advisory, public education, compliance and monitoring, complaints and investigation, and enforcement. Okay. Now, this is the scope. So, it applies to processing of all types of personal information in the country and even abroad, subject to certain qualifications. Now, the PICs may also invoke the principle of privileged communication. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? So, meron po kasi tayong tinatawag na privileged information. So, ito po yung information taken out of the context between for example, husband and wife, between a lawyer and a client, between doctor and patient. Yun, may example po yun. Bakit kailangan sabihin ito? Kasi po, yung privileged information, same ang treatment with sensitive personal information. So, ibig sabihin, pag yan ang involved, mas mahal ang penalty. Okay. So, let's now go to the rights of the data subject. So, as the data subject, kailangan alam niyo yung karapatan ninyo. Number 1, right to information. So, as data subjects, you have the right to be informed on the nature, the extent, and purpose of the processing. So, dapat alam niyo po yan. No, you have the right to be informed. Sino, ano, yan. Mga question tungkol sa processing. Right to object. So, you have the right to object. If you feel, no, for example, may nag-process without your consent, kailangan ng consent. So, you have the right to object. Or sa tingin nyo ay mali yung pagpoproseso, ako sa palagay nyo ay may violation, pwede kayong mag-object. Pwede kayong mag-object. 3, right to access. Upon demand of the data subject, dapat pwede siyang bigyan ng access doon sa processing of information. Okay, so ang purpose po nito ay to verify the legality of the processing. So this is upon demand, no? Upon demand. Number 4, the right to correct. So if there are any corrections, incomplete data, okay, so dapat pwede kang mag-request, no, to correct. Katulad sa birth certificate, diba? Pagka mali yung pangalan, pwede tayong mag-request. But of course, it has to undergo due process. Yan. So may due process. And same thing with the right to erase. May due process din yan. Hindi natin syempre pwedeng ipa-erase basta-basta yung ating personal data. Okay? So, the personal data, for example, ay nasa bangko dahil may utang tayo. So, syempre, kung may utang tayo, di pa nababayaran, hindi natin basta-basta pwede ipa-erase yan. No? At saka, syempre, subject din to other laws. No? Meron pa kasi rin ibang batas. Next, the right to damages. So, if we sustain damage from the processing of our data, pwede po tayong magpabayad. And, right to data portability. This is quite new even for some jurisdiction. But the concept of this is the data subject has the right to request for a copy of his personal data. So ito yung electronic form lang po ito pinag-usapan natin. So kapag nag-request siya, he should be given a copy of his personal information in a common structured format readily usable by other organizations. And the last right is the right to file a complaint. If you feel that your rights are violated, you have the right to file a complaint. And saan kayo magko-complain? So dapat dun muna sa nag-process ng inyong personal data na organization, no? Dun muna kayo mag-complain kung sino yung nag-process. Huwag kayong didiretso sa NPC. So pagka hindi lang kayo nagkaayos, saka lang kayo dumiretso sa National Privacy Commission. Okay? Parang ano ba yan? Kumbaga, barangay level muna bago police. Parang ganon. Di ba? So, yung ating rights of data subject. Now, let's go to, eto na, principles. Sabi yung ating mga processing na ginagawa, dapat daw nag-a-adhere or sumusunod dito sa mga data privacy principles. So, 3 po yan. Transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality. Transparency. Nabanggit ko na to kanina. So, dapat walang gulatan. The data subject must be aware of the nature, purpose, and extent of the processing of his or her personal data. Kasama pati yung risk, safeguards involved, identity ng PIC, pati yung rights of data subject, and how can this be exercised. So lahat po yan. And this can only be demonstrated through the use of privacy notice, privacy policy, or consent. Iba-iba po yan, So, saan ba natin nakikita yung privacy notice? So, kadalasan, this can be seen on websites. Iba-ibang mode kasi. Minsan, nakita ko sa malls, nasa ibabaw ng mga desk nila, merong standee. Minsan, merong iba yung school. Pagpasok mo pa lang, may privacy notice nakalagay, no? So, ang purpose po ng privacy notice ay, kaya nga notice, ini-inform mo yung public o lahat ng data subjects mo na ito yung mangyayari doon sa iyong data. Halimbawa, kinuha namin, may kinuha kaming data. Ano yung purpose, etc. General statements lang naman ito. So, this is for the public to know, kaya nga notice. So, same, ito na mga public privacy policy, actually, halos napapag-interchange kasi, no? Privacy notice kasi intended talaga yan for external. Kaya data subjects, no? External. Para makita nila. Yung privacy policy naman, this is intended ideally for internal, sa mga personnel. Pero dahil iba-iba nga yung gamit, so pwede na rin, no? Kasi iba-iba rin yung tawag. Minsan privacy statement, terms of privacy, yan. Pero ang pagkakaiba talaga, so yung privacy notice and policy para sa lahat, kung makapamaramihan, hindi katulad ng consent. Okay, doon na tayo sa consent. Same ang purpose niyan para mapakita yung transparency. Pero yung consent po ay hinihingi individually. And kailangan merong evidence. No? Okay, so hinihingi natin ng paalam kung ano yung hihinga nating process ng paalam. And it must be freely given, hindi pinilit. It must be specific, nakasulat doon kung ano yung hihingan mo ng paalam, ng consent. With informed indication of will, no? Yung evidence by written, electronic, or recorded. So pwedeng signature, kung yan ay nasa papel, di ba? Pwedeng opt-in box or by clicking an icon if it's on a website, or yan. Or pwede rin namang by sending a confirmation email or oral confirmation. Pwede tayong manghingi sa email ng consent. Or through oral confirmation, kailangan recorded kapag oral confirmation. And take note, opt-in, silence, pre-tick boxes, or inactivity does not constitute consent. Hindi po pwede yung nakatik na agad yung yes. So, hindi pwedeng ganon. And dapat, bawal yung implied na tinatawag, implied consent. So express consent po ang kailangan natin. And reminder, if it's not clear, it's not consent. So hindi lang visually clear, so dapat yung content dapat simple and plain, clear language. Okay? Visually clear, dapat malaki yung font. Hindi yung kailangan mo pang gumamit ng magnifying glass para makabasa kung ano yung nakasulat. Ang tanong, no. Do you always need consent? No. It's just one criterion for lawful processing of personal and sensitive personal information. So yun, hindi natin lagi kailangan ng consent, no? So it will not always be the most appropriate basis for processing personal data. Mamaya explain ko yung iba pang basis, no, for lawful processing of personal data. Okay. Now, itong mga nakasulat dito na logos are logos of agencies, government agencies na hindi na kumukuha ng consent. Kasi ang basis po nila ng pagkuha ng mga personal information sa pag-process noon ay based sa kanilang mandate. Yan. Okay? So, the next principle, legitimate purpose. So, ano yung legitimate purpose? So, the processing of information shall be compatible with the declared and specified purpose, which must not be contrary to law, morals, or public policy. Now, with government, medyo, madali na para sa atin kasi yung ating legitimate purpose, kadalasan po nanggagaling, hindi pala kadalasan, lagi po nanggagaling dapat yan doon sa ating mandate. Okay? Kung ano yung nasa mandate. So, yun po yung ating lawful basis, saka yung legitimate purpose nandun din. Now, as you can see, meron tayong ngayon table dito. Yung nasa left is for personal information, yung nasa right, sensitive personal information. Okay. So, iba po yung mga basis, mas marami yung basis kapag personal information doon sa sensitive. So number one is consent. So yun yung number one basis. So aside from consent, if the processing is required for a law and regulation, so katulad nga nun yung mandate ng agency, kaya kinukuha yung at pinaprocess yung information. Another is if the processing is needed to protect the life of the data subject. Or, the next, if the processing is needed for a contract. For example, employee-employer contract. Ano pa ba? Marami pang contract, no? Deed of sale, etc. Or because if it's needed for a legal obligation. Or if it's needed, because of public order and safety, and legitimate interest. Pero itong legitimate interest, so kailangan mo pang patunayan kung legitimate nga yan. Meron tayong tinatawag pa na purpose test, necessity test, and balance test. Yan. Okay, now for sensitive personal information, ayan, consent, law and regulation to protect the life, medical treatment, and court proceedings or legal claims. Yan naman yung basis. So hindi mo pwedeng i-process yung personal information, yung sensitive personal information kung wala dito sa mga ito, sa mga pagpipilian mong yan, no? Hindi mo pwede i-process. Okay? So court proceedings, for example, meron ng subpoena, di ba? Or court order. Yan. Okay. So pwede mo na i-process or collect yung personal data or information. So napaka-importante nitong lawful processing. Dito yung pinakamaraming tanong eh. Laging itatanong, meron ba kaming violation dito sa gagawin namin process? So tingnan nyo muna din, no? Tingnan nyo muna kung merong lawful basis yung inyong processing, no? Isa yan doon sa malalaman nyo kung may violation. And then, i-check nyo din kung meron siya. Siyempre, yung principle natin, nag-a-adhere ba siya doon sa transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality. At saka na-exercise ba yung rights of data subject. Okay? So yan po, tandaan po natin. Now, the last principle of proportionality. The processing of information shall be adequate, relevant, suitable, necessary, and not excessive in relation to declared and specified purpose. Okay. So ito yung nabanggit ko kanina, di ba? So dapat adequate, relevant, suitable, necessary, and not excessive. Okay, so dapat proportional yung kinukuha natin personal information doon sa purpose declared. Proportional. Okay. So in other words, collect only what is needed. Collect only what is needed. Kasi the more you collect, the more chances of winning. The more chances of the higher the risk. No? The more you collect, the higher the risk. So bakit mo kukolektahin yung mga hindi mo kailangan? Okay, so risk pa yan. Okay, so ganun po. So tandaan, collect only what is needed for the purpose that has been declared. Katulad nito, mayroon mong proportionality dyan. Parang papagising yan, no? Para doon sa mga inaantok. Yan. Okay, may proportionality ba? So wala, di ba? Wala. Para daw makautang yan ang mga kailangan. So definitely, walang proportionality. Okay, so these are the obligations of a personal information controller. Okay, so sino yung personal information controller? Kunwari si DepEd. No, DepEd. So DepEd should collect personal information for specified and legitimate purpose determined and declared before or as soon as reasonably practicable after collection. So nabanggit naman na natin kanina yan. No? So hindi ka basta-basta pwede mag-collect at mag-process kung wala kang legitimate purpose na specific. Next, DepEd should process personal information fairly and lawfully in accordance with the rights of the data subject. Oh, malinaw naman yon, di ba? DepEd should process accurate, relevant, and up-to-date personal information. So make sure yung mga pinaprocess nyo ay ganyan. May accuracy, tapos relevant, and up-to-date. O katulad sa HR, sure ba kayo na yung mga kinokollect nyong for example, transcript ay hindi peke. So you must have a way to verify the authenticity of these documents with the personal information. Yan. Okay? So ito naman next, DepEd should collect and process personal information adequately and not excessively. So ito na yung sa proportionality. Next, the PIC or the DepEd should retain personal information only for as long as necessary for the fulfillment of the purpose for which the data was obtained. So the information should be kept in a form which permits identification of data subjects for no longer than is necessary. Retention. Okay, so sa the government naman, meron tayong National Archives of the Philippines who provides the guidelines para dito sa ating retention and disposal. Okay? Next, so yun ay susundin natin. Or si DepEd mismo, baka meron din kayo, no, na kayo mismo yung nag-formulate kung ano yung guidelines. Yan. And next, the DepEd must implement reasonable and appropriate organizational, physical, and technical measures. So tatlo po yan, ano? Intended for the protection of personal information. So OPT, organizational, physical, and technical, to maintain the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so protection din yan against mga accidental, unlawful, fraudulent, natural, and human dangers. So lahat po ng risk, no? So pinoprotection na natin. And these are examples. For example, ano yung example ng organizational security measure? So ito yung protection, di ba? Governance, risk assessment, PMP, policy. So itong mga policies na to, these are examples of organizational security measure. Yung pag-appoint ng DPO, yun ay organizational. Yung pag-conduct ng privacy impact assessment. Yan. Next, physical. So this refers to perimeter, workstation, storage areas, office design. So yung lock ng cabinet, that is a physical security measure. Yung CCTV, yung mga ano pa, yan, storage device. Okay, so ano yung protection mo dyan binibigay dyan sa mga storage device? Another is technical. Ito, marami to, IT, no? Refers to IT, ICT infrastructure, network, computer system. So, ang example po nito, encryption. Yan. By the way, meron tayong specific provisions for government na kailangan meron tayong encryption at kailangan ang minimum standard for encryption is AES 256. AES 256. Yan. At meron din tayo sinasabing recommendation for government to adopt the ISO 27001, 27002 controls framework. Okay, mas madali po 'yun, no? Mas kasi mamimili ka na lang kung ano yung gagamit mong security measure. Nakalist na po lahat doon kung ano yung mga iba't ibang security controls. Mamimili na lang kayo. Okay, so tandaan po natin 'yan. So dapat laging secure, dapat yung protection or controls na gagamitin para sa ating mga personal data. Okay, and now ito yung penalties. So punishable acts, access due to negligence. Yung nasa gitna, nakita nyo merong 1 year to 3 years, 3 years to 6 years. Yung mas matagal, ito po yung sinasabi ko pagka sensitive personal information na involved. Okay? So hindi ko na po na-explain isa-isa. No? So access due to negligence, unauthorized processing, unauthorized purpose, improper disposal. Yeah. And by the way, I'll be giving a copy of this presentation para meron naman kayong reference. And nandito rin, nasa website din po namin lahat itong mga information na ito. privacy.gov.ph. Okay, meron din tayong tinatawag na 5 pillars of compliance. Okay, 5 pillars of compliance. 5 utos para maging compliant ka. Okay, number 1, commit to comply. Appoint a data protection officer. So, meron naman ng data protection officer ang DepEd, di ba? Meron. Okay. So, by the way, meron din tayong tinatawag na COP or Compliance Officer for Privacy. So, kailan ginagamit ito or sino ba ito? Parang DPO rin ito, kumbaga parang mini DPO, no? So, kung ang structure, kunwari ng DepEd ay merong isang central or main, tapos meron siyang mga regional. Okay. So, dapat yung data protection officer nandun sa main, yun ang data protection officer sa central or main. Bawat region naman merong compliance officer for privacy. Okay? So, itong compliance officer for privacy na to should be under the supervision of the data protection officer. So, kung may policy, kunwari, na-implement si data protection officer, okay, so pag kinasgade, so katulong dapat itong mga compliance officer for privacy. Okay? Yan. Next. Know your risk. conduct a privacy impact assessment. So this is a risk assessment tool, or this is a process used to evaluate the system o yung mga data processing na ginagawa nyo. Okay, so for example, meron kayong 10 data processing system, so dapat ang pinaprocess dito yung personal data. Merong involved na personal data. So this should be evaluated using a privacy impact assessment. Okay. So in a PIA or privacy impact assessment, you will identify kung ano yung mga risk, no, which may arise from the processing, and yung mga measures or protect security measures to protect or mitigate, yun nga, ma-mitigate yung mga risk na na-identify nyo. Yun po ang ginagawa sa privacy impact assessment. Okay? Now, question, isasabit ba ito, privacy impact assessment? Okay, so dina-document kasi ito. So documentation is very important. Okay, so yung documentation dito hindi naman kailangan i-submit. So nasa inyo lang ito, no? And we will look into this, halimbawa magkaroon ng compliance check or investigation or audit, yan. So tinitingnan po namin yan. Kaya kailangan readily available po siya kapag nagkaroon ng ganong mga scenario, no? Okay, next. Be accountable. Create your privacy management program and privacy manual. Okay. So, anong gagawin dito? Kaya, privacy management program, this is where all the documentation comes in. Dito lahat pinag-ipon-ipon. Andito yung inyong plans, strategies, yan. So, nandito lahat. And privacy manual, andito naman lahat ng compilation ng inyong mga policies. So same with privacy impact assessment, this should also be documented syempre, and hindi naman to kailangan i-submit. And again, it has to be readily available in case na i-require namin kayo na i-submit, no? Kapag merong investigation or compliance checks or audit. Okay? So yun po. Next, demonstrate your compliance. Implement your privacy and data protection measures. So yun na nga, kailangan natin ng security, no? Yung mga security measures. So kasama rin dito, syempre iba-ibang klase yung ating security measures, di ba? Organizational, physical, and technical. And it should be strictly implemented, no? Hindi tayo pwedeng paper compliance lang. So dapat operational compliance. And the last is be prepared for breach. Regularly exercise your breach reporting procedures. So meron tayong tinatawag na mandatory at saka annual security incident report. Ano yung mandatory reporting? So ito yung within 72 hours, no? Within 72 hours kailangan i-report mo yung breach sa NPC. Okay? So, yung ano naman, yung annual security incident report, this is reported sa NPC annually, kaya nga annual security incident report. So, ito yung mga, kumbaga, breach na hindi nagtuloy o yung mga downgraded na breach. Okay? So, security incident report. And, meron pong nag-handle dito, dapat ang tawag doon ay breach response team. Oh? Meron tayong dapat breach response team. Okay? At meron ding security incident procedures na mga policies, no, tungkol dito. Okay? So dapat ready rin po tayo dyan. And yan po ay may mga separate training din po yan para bawat isa po dyan. Okay? Masyado mahaba lang po kasi kung i-explain ko pa yan bawat isa. Okay. So, to conclude, ito po yung kabuuan ng ating batas na dapat nating laging tatandaan. No? We must adhere to the data privacy principles. So, ano yun? transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality. So, lagi nating tandaan yung pagpuproseso natin, lagi bang may ganyan? Sumusunod ba? And ano pa? Security measures. Meron bang protection? Merong control na implemented doon sa mga proseso natin. Dapat laging meron. Okay? To protect against, katulad in-explain ko kanina, di ba, yung mga risk na na-identify natin. And most importantly, we must uphold the rights of data subject. There must be a way para ma-exercise nila yung kanilang mga karapatan. So, lagi niyong tandaan yung tatlong yan. No? Yan na yung pinakabuod ng Data Privacy Act. Okay? So, kapag meron kayong tatanong, pag meron kayong aalamin na process kung nagba-violate ba, tama ba yung ginagawa namin, ayan, tingnan niyo yung tatlong yan. Lahat ba merong ganyan? Meron bang sumusunod ba sa principles? Meron ba protection or security measures implemented? At na-uphold yung rights of data subject. And to end it, I'll give you ayan, yung ating quote, the data privacy golden rule. If you can't protect it, don't collect it. That ends my presentation and I thank you.
Thank you, Sir Cleo. Thank you for your wonderful and ano bang term dyan? Malalim na discussion ng ating data privacy law. So, do we have any questions? May mga tanong po ba? Si Sir Domingo, may na-harvest po ba kayong tanong? Okay. So, Sir Cleo, so we have questions.
Ayan,
Na na-harvest. Opo, meron pong tanong. So, ang una pong tanong, sabi niya, Sir, ay, what if wala pa pong naka-assign na data protection officer sa isang office? Ano po ang responsibility po ng head of agency if nagkaroon ng data breach?
Okay.
Okay,
Responsibility or accountability, o siguro parehas na rin, no? Hindi pala pagkaparehas yun, pero sige, explain ko na rin po. Okay. Responsibility, by default, no, talaga po sa head of agency, no? Okay, pero syempre meron tayong investigation, no? Merong investigation. Depende po sa investigation kung sino yung magiging accountable. Okay. Like for example, I'll give you iba't ibang scenario. Okay. Scenario number 1, meron data protection officer. Pero hindi niya ginawa yung kanyang trabaho ng maigi. Hindi siya nakagawa ng policies, etc. Ayan. So, pwedeng siya yung managot. Okay, number 2, if merong data protection officer, ginawa niya lahat, merong policy, cascaded from top hanggang sa bottom, tapos meron talaga isang pasaway na personnel. So, yun pa rin, pwedeng managot pa rin yung personnel na yon. Another scenario, kunwari si data protection officer, ginawa niya yung trabaho niya lahat, tapos meron siya mga pinropose, tapos yung mga pinropose niya ay hindi inaprobahan. Kunwari, security measure, hindi inaprobahan nitong top management, for example, no? So, hindi niya inapprove, so hindi na-implement, at tapos nagkaroon ng breach, kunwari. Kaya nagkaroon ng breach dahil wala yung yung mga security measures na recommend. So pwedeng nga managot po yung top management doon. So ganun po. So depende po sa investigation. Okay? Okay, babasahin ko na yung kasunod na tanong.
Yes, sir. Ito, sir. So, ang kasunod na tanong, sir, ay paano po ang implementation ng pagkakaroon ng data protection officer sa mga barangay?
Okay. Kanina parang nabanggit ko yan, hindi, nabanggit ko pala talaga. Yung mga barangay po, kasi under po yan sa ang pinakamataas ay limbawa province, tapos may mga municipality pa, tapos may mga barangay pa. So kung ano yung pinakamataas, dapat nandun po yung data protection officer, and yung mga barangay, municipalities, yung mga barangay, yan po, pwede po magkaroon ng COP or Compliance Officer for Privacy. At saka depende pa rin kasi depende sa magde-decide kasi kung yung kumbaga depende sa kino-collect din na nako-collect na information kasi may malaking barangay, no? Merong maliit na barangay. Ayan. So iba-iba po kasi yung ating kumbaga may threshold din no? Meron din po tayong tinatawag na threshold. So depende po, no? So kung ano yung mapag-desisyon na halimbawa sa isang municipality, ayan, kung magkakaroon ba kayo ng compliance officer for privacy, paano nyo i-handle? Pero dapat kasi, yung sinasabi nating data protection officer, isa lang po for the purpose of communication or contact person ng NPC. Yun, sa NPC. So kunwari, sa province, provincial government, merong DPO. Tapos, under DPO, may mga COP. So, for the purpose of registration and communication, isa lang po yung nakaregister sa NPC. Pero yung mga nasa baba, hindi naman na kailangan i-register yun. Internally, pwede po kayo mag-create ng team or committee. Ayun. O kaya nga yun nga, yung mga COP. So, yun po yun.
Okay, thank you for that answer, sir. So the next question, ang tanong, sir, ay what is data privacy?
What is data privacy? Okay, so yung privacy is the right to be let alone. Pero ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito nga ay data privacy. Kaya data privacy ay informational privacy. Okay? Ito po yung right nyo para, ayan, to take control of your own personal data. So ibig sabihin, meron kayong kayo yung may control, hindi pwedeng basta-basta gagamitin ng iba, no? Or ipo-process ng iba. So hindi pwede. Kaya nga yung iba kailangan ng consent. Kung hindi naman consent, dapat merong lawful basis for processing. So kayo po yung magde-decide kung ano yung gagawin dun sa inyong personal data. Meron kayong ganong, kumbaga parang inyong karapatan nyo, no? Meron kayong control.
Okay. So, is it clear yung data privacy? So the next question, sir, sabi ay, ano po ang qualification ng data protection officer?
Okay, good question. Data protection officer. Okay, general qualification po, dapat po meron siyang relevant knowledge tungkol dito sa ating data privacy na ang kailangan naman po ay pwede naman po yung mapag-aralan. Po. So hindi naman po siya kailangan IT, hindi rin kailangan legal, no? Walang sinasabing ganun sa batas na specific na na expertise. Pero yun nga, dapat meron kayong relevant knowledge doon sa or expertise doon sa data privacy. And aside from that, kapag ka nag-appoint ka ng or designate ng data protection officer, dapat yung merong level of mataas yung level ng authority niya, no? Kasi he will be implementing policies. Kapag mababa lang yan, halimbawa ay rank and file, for example, hindi po yan papansinin or baka hindi paniwalaan, hindi rin may tendency rin na hindi sundin, no? yung mga policy na i-implement. So yun po. At so yun po, ganun po ang ating data protection officer. So hindi naman kailangan attorney or hindi kailangan ng IT. Pero mas maganda syempre kung merong maganda kumbaga add-on 'yon. Yun po.
Okay. So, thank you, sir. So, we have also another question. Sabi dito ay, is it safe to assume po na wala na magiging liability ang isang office if magre-release sila ng data or information ay may na-execute na data sharing agreement? Yan. So, that is from Attorney Roel Malabag. So, sabi niya, sir, is it safe to assume po na wala nang magiging liability ang isang office if magre-release sila ng data or information at may na-execute na data sharing agreement?
Meron pa rin, syempre. Depende. Kasi, kung may nangyari, halimbawa may nangyari, kunwari, gano'n. For example, nagkaroon ng breach. Tapos, doon nangyari yung breach doon sa pinag-share nila ng data. So kailangan lang nakalagay dun sa data sharing agreement 'yon, yung sharing din nung liability. So in case na doon mangyari doon sa isang party na pinag-sharean mo ng data. So depende po sa investigation syempre. Depende. So kung sa kanila nangyari yung breach, pwede pong sila ang managot. No? Depende. Depende sa investigation.
Okay, thank you for that answer, sir. So we have another question. Sabi naman dito from June Patrick Balita. Ang sabi niya ay regarding sa data privacy notice and consent for information systems. After declaring the policy, is this clause sufficient to capture user acceptance? By using this facility and all information systems embedded herein, you are indicating your understanding and acceptance of the conditions as set out above. So sabi sir, yun po bang provision na ito ay
privacy notice?
Sufficient? Okay. Yes, parang sufficient.
Regarding privacy notice, teka, binabasa ko lang By using this facility and all information systems embedded herein, you're indicating your understanding and acceptance of the conditions as set out above. Okay, pwede naman po, pero ito na yung parang pinakadulo. So may ibig sabihin, mayroon pa itong mga nakasulat na iba pang clauses. Okay, pwede naman po as privacy notice. Okay, pwede naman po. But then again, remember, so depende po kung ano yung pinaprocess nyo, ha? Okay. Kung itong pinaprocess nyo ay may sensitive personal information, hindi po pwedeng privacy notice, ha? Consent po ang kailangan. Ito kasi, napansin ko, no? Ito ay privacy notice, no? So depende po sa ipaprocess ninyo. Kung ito po ay mga personal information lang at walang involved na sensitive personal information, kailangan po ay consent ang hihingin. Now, if it's personal information, hindi rin porket personal information lang ay kailangan ay pwede na agad yan. So dapat nandun pa rin yung lawful basis, nakalagay pa din. Bakit nyo kinokolekta itong mga information na to? Yan. So, dapat i-mention pa rin nyo dun yung lawful basis nyo for processing and collecting tong mga personal information. Okay? Pwede naman po yan. Basta nakasaad po lahat yun doon sa privacy notice. Okay? Hello?
Thank you, sir, for that answer. This is another question, sir. If the American government will permit it, people will be injected microchips through the COVID-19 vaccine. This is called digital certificating of people. This act likes a barcode to monitor it. What are the possible risks to people's privacy of having such microchips? So the question is from Sir Kenneth Harvey Samante.
Wow, ang lalim. Well, ano lang, personal opinion, syempre kung may mga ganung ganyan, no, na ano bang gagawin? Hindi ko kasi alam kung anong gagawin well, siguro okay. Ano bang gagawin ng microchip? Kasi wala naman nakalagay. Mamonitor yung mga tao. At saka bakit American government? Hindi kasi sa Pilipinas lang po pinag-uusapan natin eh. Kaya hindi ko pa masasagot yan. Iba po kasi yung privacy din sa Amerika. Pero definitely mayroong privacy issue. No? Kasi kung mamomonitor ka, di alam lahat. Kasi American government po yung tinatanong nyo. Hindi na tungkol sa Pilipinas.
But just in case, sir, kung sakali na that would also be adopted by the Philippine government, what would be your opinion, sir, on the act of government in injecting digital certificating of people?
Well, katulad din ng ibang data processing system kasi kung i-apply natin yung Data Privacy Act, so dapat magkaroon din yan ng transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality. Kumbaga siyempre sistema yan, sistema. Ang tawag sa sistema niya, kunwari ay microchip, ganon, embedding, ganon. Okay? So meron bang ganon? May transparency ba? Alam ba ng lahat ng tao kung ano yung mangyayari pagka na-injectan sila niyan? May proportionality ba? Ano ba yung kukolektahin information ng microchip na yan? Diba? Security measure. Okay, paano protektado ba yung mga kukolektahin? So, lahat po actually ng tinatanong nyo, kung kahit anong klaseng sistema man yan, so dapat po sinusunod yung mga principles na binigay ko. So, yun po ang aking opinion. So, dapat nasusunod niya pa rin yung batas. So, ganun lang po siya.
Okay, sir. So, thank you for that answer. So the next, sir, ang sabi dito ay, sir, pwede po bang tanggihan yung nagpapalagbok?
That is from ano po yan? Halimbawa, contact tracing. Okay, kunwari contact tracing, logbook. Diba? Kunwari nasa logbook, contact tracing. So kung hindi ka papirma kasi doon, pwedeng hindi ka rin papasukin. So yun po yung legal niya. Yung magiging issue po doon. So, tanggihan mo pero hindi ka rin makakapasok. Kasi meron naman pong legal lawful basis yung pagkuha nila ng information kung kung logbook man yan or kung contact tracing kung saan. Pwede mong tanggihan pero hindi kayo makakapasok.
Okay, sir. Okay, so those are the questions. And of course, the answers given by Sir Cleo Martinez. So once again, sir, thank you very much for sharing the information to us. So it would be very helpful sa DepEd Calabarzon and to all others who are listening na hindi naman from DepEd Calabarzon.
If you have any other question at hindi nyo na po nalagay dito, pwede naman pong ipadala na lang yung question through email or dito sa DICT at tapos papasagutan na lang po namin. Salamat po.
Okay po, sir. Sir, thank you so much. So, pwede pong mag-break muna tayo for about 10 minutes para po makapag-CR and siguro just to comfort ourselves. 10 minutes po before the next speaker. Thank you. So for the next topic, the speaker will be talking about the Philippine National Public Key Infrastructure. Public Key Infrastructure, or PKI for short, allows users of public networks like the Internet to exchange private data securely. PKI is essentially a set of hardware, software policies, personnel, and procedures needed to create, manage, distribute, use, store, and revoke digital certificates. The PKI is one of the core services being offered by the Department of Information and Communications Technology that will foster trust in the government by ensuring secure and reliable online transactions. How does it goes? What are the needed hardware and software to be installed? What is the procedure? And all other relevant questions are the things that would be answered by these next speakers. Sir, so let's introduce the next speakers. We have Engineer John John Lawrence Recto. Engineer John Lawrence Recto graduated from the University of Santo Tomas with a degree in Bachelor of Science in Electronics Engineering. He is part of the Digital Certificate Division under the Cybersecurity Bureau of the Department of Information and Communications Technology. We will also have Engineer Daryl Bolocan. Engineer Bolocan graduated from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines with a degree in Bachelor of Science in Electronics Engineering. She is part of the Digital Certificate Division under the Cybersecurity Bureau of the Department of Information and Communications Technology. The Digital Certificate Division administers the Philippine National Public Key Infrastructure program that governs the issuance of digital certificates in the country. So we have Engineer John. Engineer?
Hello po, good afternoon
So
po.
we have Engineer Bolocan. Yes, Engineer. Sige po.
Okay po, naririnig na po ako loud and clear.
I can hear you, Engineer, loud and clear.
Okay po, thank you po. So, in behalf po of our team sa Cybersecurity under the Digital Certificate Division, we are grateful po sa this kind of opportunity para po mabigay po namin ang awareness ng PNPKI. So, with me po is Engineer Recto. So, siya po yung mamaya is magde-demo kung paano po ginagawa or nag-affix ng digital signature. So, mamaya po natin makikita po yung process po ng pag-affix ng signature. So, let me share my screen po. Kung pwede po. Naka-present pa po si LC2. Ayan. Okay po. Let me share my screen. Wait lang po. Okay. Nakikita na po yung aking presentation. Yung PowerPoint po.
Yes, Engineer. Nakikita na po.
Okay po. Okay po, thank you po. So, good afternoon po ulit. So, I'm going to present about the introduction to the PNPKI or the Philippine National Public Key Infrastructure. Gaya nga po ng nasabi po ni Attorney kanina, the PNPKI is the one of the frontline services being offered by the Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT. So, ito po, to give you an overview po muna, cybersecurity po is our bureau. So, yung PNPKI po is started way back 2013, but it was only August 2013 po nag-start yung PNPKI, but it was only August 2018 lang po na-transfer sa Cybersecurity Bureau, yung pagmamanage po ng PNPKI. So, to give you an overview po, Cybersecurity Bureau has 3 divisions, namely the National Computer Emergency Response Team, or the NCERT, and the Critical Infrastructure Evaluation and Cybersecurity Standards Monitoring Division, or CIE-CSMD, and the operation and the management of the PNPKI is under the Digital Certificate Division. So, overall po, si cybersecurity po is ini-ensure po niya yung security ng ICT infrastructure, pati rin po ng mga information assets ng individual, governments, and businesses po natin. So ito po, so nakita niyo po sa inyong screen, ito po ang aming PNPKI team nationwide. So besides po sa aming central office na nasa NCR po, meron po kaming mga PNPKI team sa lahat po ng DICT FOOs or Field Operation Offices po namin. Meron po kaming 3 sa Luzon, 2 sa Visayas, at 3 sa Mindanao. So, ang kagandahan po nito kapag meron po tayong PNPKI subscriber, for example, sa Mindanao, hindi na po niya kailangan pumunta sa Central Luzon para po magpa-assist or magpasa ng kanyang application or manghingi ng assistance. Meron po tayong mga RA officers na naka-designate sa bawat FOOs po natin. So, ayan po. So, yan po at aming PNPKI team nationwide. So ngayon po, nowadays, marami po tayong nakita sa ating mga social media platforms, sa ating mga news. May marami pong naisulat tungkol sa digital certificate. So katulad po neto, the ICT provides secure digital certificates to the public. Ayan, government offices urge to use the ICT service for electronics transactions. So marami po, ayan, nilabas po ng PIA, PTV News, ayan. So marami po tayong nakitang ganyan. So what's the clamor all about po? So ngayon po, marami po kasi sa aming nag-inquire, lalo na po sa nung nag-lockdown, ano daw po ba yung PNPKI? Secure daw po ba to? Libre daw po ba to? Or ilan years daw po ba yung validity nito? So ngayon po, ang ating points of discussion this afternoon is what is PKI and PNPKI? What is the public key cryptography, the digital certificates compared to the digital signatures, benefits of PNPKI, also the legal basis of e-signature and PNPKI, and the application requirements and processes po. So magpapakita po ako ngayon ng scenario po ng digital transformation ng ating government services. So ito po, scenario number 1, too many steps. So nakikita nyo po, ayan, pagkuha po ng mga business permit. So hindi po tayo makapag-operate ng isang business kapag wala po tayong business permit for legality po, di po ba? So ito po yung scenario na makikita natin na marami pong tao at marami pong window. Minsan window 1 hanggang window 10. And then minsan magiging tiresome po sa atin, nakakapagod. At hindi po natin mamamaximize ang ating time kasi nandyan po tayo buong maghapon. So, ito po yung isang solution dyan. Naglabas po si DICT ng Electronic Business Permit and Licensing System or EBPLS. Ang gagawin lang po natin dito is input our information, needed information para sa ating business permit. And then, magkakaroon po tayo ng schedule kung kailan po natin pwede yung makuha ang ating business permit. Hindi po katulad compared kanina, napipila tayo. Dito po, i-ano lang po natin, input lang po natin sa ating mga gadgets dito po sa portal, and then makukuha na po natin or na-streamline na po yung process ng pagkuha ng business permit. So, mama-maximize po natin yung ating oras. Ayan, so, ayan po isang solution or scenario. Next scenario po is long lines. Ayan. So, ito pong long lines na to, makikita po natin sa pagkuha din po ng police clearance and NBI clearance. So, alam naman po natin yung NBI at police clearance is one of the in-demand requirements na kinukuha sa isang nag-a-apply or sa isang empleyado. Kaya ganito po yung magiging scenario talaga kapag medyo natagalan ka pa po or kapag medyo tinanghali pa po tayo ng gising, mas mahaba pa po dyan. Baka po nasa labas na po tayo ng building. But, ito po, naglabas na po sila ng portal. Solution po dyan, yung portal. All we have to do is input our information. Magsasign in po kayo. Input your information. And yung pagbabayad po, pwede na po natin gawin sa bank transfer or sa Paymaya or sa GCash. Pwede rin po sa 7-Eleven. Cashless pa po, no? Kaya, ayan po, na-streamline din po yung process. Ayan, so going to digital transformation na po. At hindi lang po yung NBI ang meron pong ganyang portal. Meron din po si GSIS, SSS, and then sa POEA po. So, by this solution po, na-maximize po ng isang tao na mag-a-apply ng NBI online or ng NBI or ng mga transaction nila sa government, na yung time po nila, hindi na po sila pipila ng mahaba na mas convenient po para sa isang nag-a-apply ng clearance or mga ibang needed documents po sa government. Next naman po natin, ayan, so alam niyo po ba kung saan yan? Ayan po yung sa, tinatawag po nila dito na University of Recto. So, hindi po yan kay Engineer Jolo. So, University of Recto, dyan po yung nagpapagawa ng mga fraud documents. Sabi nga daw po nila, kung gusto mo pong maging doctor or maging isang licensed teacher, punta lang daw po sa recto, magagawa daw po nila in just a matter of 2 minutes or ilang minuto lang daw po. Pero ayun, ito po yung iniiwasan natin na magkaroon po ng mga fraud documents or fraudulent documents na magamit po ng mga ibang tao para in bad faith, para makapangloko. So ano po yung solution natin dyan? Ayan, meron po tayong barcode and QR code. Kung mapapansin niyo po kapag kukuha kayo ng birth certificate sa PSA, meron po silang barcode po doon na pag in-scan po natin, malalaman po natin yung masisure po natin, masisigurado natin yung authenticity ng document na kinuha natin. Kasi may information po doon na nakalagay dyan sa mga barcode. Next din po yung mga OCR or Optical Character Recognition. So, pag in-scan po yun, makita kung may na-alter po ba sa document. And then, last but not the least, yung digital signature, which is ito po yung aming i-discuss today po. So, scenario number 4 is work from home due to COVID-19 situation. So, in our current situation ngayon, hindi pa po tayo lahat physically present sa ating mga opisina. Siguro po meron iba skeletal, but hindi po lahat. Siyempre, niiwasan po natin na yung infection. At dito po, sa work from home due to COVID-19 situation, ang ginagamit po nating tools dito is ICT tools, which is ang paggamit po ng internet. But the internet is unsecured network. So, mas vulnerable po tayo ngayon sa mga hacking, sa mga phishing, sa mga identity theft. Kasi nga po, ang ginagamit po natin is the internet. Ngayon po, ang solution po dyan is, kung nabasa niyo po ito, naglabas po ng Department Circular si DICT na nagsasabi, DICT provides secure digital certificates to the public. So, ito po yung guidelines po ng application at issuance po ng PNPKI or digital certificates. Kung gusto niyo po mabasa yung kabuuang Department Circular, nakita niyo po sa screen niyo po yung link kung saan po pwede mabasa at sa aming, sa aming website. So, by the way po, before po kasi ng pandemic, or before po ng COVID-19, yung po namin, application process po namin is face-to-face po. So, personal. Dapat, kung gusto nyo po magkaroon ng digital certificate, pupunta po kayo sa office, or kung bulk application naman po, pwede po kami pumunta sa inyong agency or sa office. Kami po yung mag-assist po sa inyo. But, face-to-face, pa rin po, appearance or personal appearance. Kasi po, si DICT po ang mag-vet ng inyong identity na associated po sa inyong public key and private key na i-issue sa inyo. So, ayan po ang isang solution para yung mga transaction natin online is maging secure. So, let's discuss what is PNPKI po. The PNPKI stands for Philippine National PKI, or ayun po, Philippine National because it's more on branding name po kasi Philippine National kasi po minamandate po siya at ino-operate ng government, which is si DICT po. P, sa PKI po is public, means yung mga document po na to is meant to be shared to the public, yung public key natin na tinatawag. Key, katulad din po ng karaniwang susi na ginagamit natin para maingatan yung mga important belongings natin. At infrastructure, siyempre po sa PKI technology, meron po tayong mga hardware and software na ginagamit. Ayan. Para po mas maunawaan natin yung ating PNPKI, yung tungkol sa PNPKI, please watch this short video po. So, i-share ko po sa, mag-unshare po ako, i-share ko po sa isang screen para po mayroong sound po. Wait lang po. Ayan. May sounds po ba?
Wala po.
Wala po.
Many are unaware of the dangers
Ayan po, may sounds po.
on the internet. Fraud,
Meron po
identity
engineer,
theft,
pero hindi siya
and
clear.
data tampering.
Okay po. I-start ko po ulit.
Many are unaware of the dangers lurking on
Medyo
the
robotic po
internet.
sa akin. Sa inyo po ba
Fraud,
maganda po yung...
identity theft, and data tampering
po.
are the common security issues faced by users. As
Ayan po,
government
medyo okay na po.
agencies increasingly shift their services online, the need to address these issues and provide
Okay po, wait lang po.
mechanisms for a safe, time-efficient, and cost-efficient online services and assistance to the public also increases.
Wait lang po ah.
To
Sige po, si Sir JR na lang daw po yung mag-share ng video. I-stop sharing ko lang po. Sensya na po, technical ano po, baka po ano po yung internet ko. Thank you po, Sir JR.
Philippine National PKI. PNPKI online application. Many are unaware of the dangers lurking on the internet. Fraud, identity theft, and data tampering are the common security issues faced by users. As government agencies increasingly shift their services online, the need to address these issues and provide mechanisms for a safe, time-efficient, and cost-efficient online services and assistance to the public also increases. To attain a higher level of security for online transactions, the DICT Cybersecurity Bureau is implementing a Public Key Infrastructure or PKI. It is the key for digital security. It uses state-of-the-art cryptography and digital certificates for digital signing and encryption. These two components are the primary instruments of PKI that ensures identification and authentication of users of applications. PKI uses both public and private keys. One key locks and the other unlocks. Imagine a set of lockers at a public pool. One key, a public key, is given to the customer to lock a compartment. To prevent the customer from forgetting to return the key after use, the locker can only be opened with a master key. The private key, which is held by the owner. The digital keys work hand in hand to ensure digital security. The public key is used to encrypt the file, while the private key is used to decrypt it, and only the right digital certificate can open the information encrypted with PKI. Digital signing. When a user with a PKI token digitally signs a document or email, the intended recipient can be assured that the information within that document was created by the person whom the message was from and that it is safe to open. Encryption. Another feature of PKI is the ability of a user to secure information within a document by encrypting it. The encrypted document cannot be decrypted or altered by anyone without a private key. This means that the information is safe during transmission and storage. Validation. The ability to use the information within the digital certificate for validation services is another important feature of PKI. The digital certificate contains reliable information about the owner's name, birth date, public key, and the date of issuance and expiration of the certificate itself. When users avail of government online services, digital certificates play a major role in the application and verification process. The information within the digital certificate can be used to ensure that a transaction is being done by the right person. Traditionally, when transacting with the government, one has to physically appear and present a valid ID to confirm one's identity. With online transactions, there is no need to go to the government office and present a valid ID. Your PKI is your online valid ID. With citizens being able to transact with the government online, there is no need to go to government offices and spend so much time in long queues, saving them time, effort and expenses with these services. PKI enabled the public can now trust online transactions. How to get a digital certificate? Digital certificates are created by a trusted certificate authority. As mandated by law, the root certificate authority will be the Department of Information and Communications Technology. This means that all digital certificates will come from DICT. The citizens and the government employees can get their PKI tokens at Certified Registration Authorities or RAs. Initially RAs, as defined by the project, will be the 4 agencies implementing the Unified Multi-Purpose ID or UMID. SSS, GSIS, Full Health and PAG-EB. Other RAs will be identified later. With PKI, the goals of achieving secured networks and online data exchange will be achieved.
Ayan, thank you po for Sir JR for presenting the video, and mag-share screen ko po ulit yung aking presentation. Wait lang po. So, kita na po yung screen ko po ulit, yung PowerPoint. Ano po? Okay po, kita na po. Okay po. Thank you po. So, continue po tayo. So, what is PKI? So, sabi po dito, PKI is a system of processes, technologies, and policies that allows you to encrypt and sign data. So, ang main purpose po natin is to facilitate the secure electronic transfer of information for the range of network activities such as e-commerce, internet banking, and confidential email. Like na po, katulad po sa nararanasan natin ngayon sa ating situation, sa COVID-19 situation, mas lalo pong nag-boom si e-commerce kasi po, syempre, iniiwasan po natin yung mga masyadong madadaming tao or crowded sa mga mall. So, ano po tayo, sa Shopee, sa Lazada tayo umu-order ng ating mga gamit, yung iba po. And then, internet banking. So, yan, nalimit na rin po yung mga bangko na nagbukas, lalo na po nung during the ECQ days. And then, yung paggamit po ng ating email, like sa ating paggamit po ng internet or unsecured network, yung mga confidential email, napapadala po natin yan. So, by the use of PKI, makasigurado po tayo na secure po yung ating mga yung mga email po, lalo na mga confidential emails na pinapadala. So, next po is PKI enables risk to be properly managed so that the electronic transaction can be performed on open, insecure networks such as the internet. So may dalawa pong main components ang PKI. Ito po yung cryptography at digital certificate. Kapag wala po yung isa dito, hindi po magiging successful yung ating PKI. So let's discuss po muna what is cryptography. So derived from the Greek word cryptos, meaning hidden, it is a method of storing and transmitting data in a particular form so that only those for whom it is intended can read and process it. Uses mathematical science to encrypt. Encrypt means locked, and decrypt or unlock the data, and enables you to store sensitive information or transmit it across the unsecured networks like the internet. So it cannot be read by anyone except the intended recipient. So yung cryptography po, nangyayari po yan sa PKI para pong computer algorithms po. So parang kapag ginagamit po natin yung PKI, meron na po isang mga algorithm sa computer para po ma-encrypt natin yung isang message natin at ma-decrypt naman po ng mga intended person. Like yung isa pong sample ng cryptography, beside po sa mga computer term, for example po kapag meron pong mga yung nagsasalita ng dialect. For example, mga Ilocano, sasalita po sila ng Ilocano, ng dialect nila in the circle of mga Tagalog na hindi nakakaintindi ng Ilocano. So, isa po yung example ng cryptography. So, hindi nila naintindihan. So, ganun po yung cryptography din na ginagamit sa PKI. Kung para lang po sa intended na makakabasa or person yun, yung ating mga messages. So, ano po ba yung public key cryptography? Ito po yung ginagamit sa PKI, yung public key cryptography. So, public key cryptography or asymmetric cryptography is a cryptographic system that uses pairs of key. Namely, ito po si public key at si private key. Kapag nag-apply po kayo ng digital certificate at na-issuean na po kayo, ito po yung ini-issue sa inyo, isa pong public key at kapartner niya pong private key. So, ang tawag po dito is pairs of key or yung key pairs po na tinatawag. So, ito po, tingnan pa po natin kung ano pong kaibahan po nila. Yung public key and its corresponding private key are mathematically related. Meaning, kung ano po yung public key na pinang-lock, ang makakapagbukas lang po nun is yung private key niya, naka-partner. Wala na pong ibang private key na makakapagbukas nun, kundi yung partner na lang po. Next po, public key and its associated private key are called the key pair. And then a message encrypted with a public key can be only decrypted by the private key, yung sinabi ko kanina, at vice versa po. A message encrypted with the private key can only be decrypted by the public key. Pero hindi po namin yung last bullet po, hindi po namin ito nire-recommend kasi po, yung sabi po dito, yung message encrypted ng private key can be decrypted by the public key. Si public key po, ito po yung meant to be shared to the public. So, parang ang example po nun, yung bahay mo, may mga kaibigan ka. For example, may mga kaibigan ka, mga 10. Lahat sila binigyan mo ng duplicate na key ng bahay mo. So, lahat sila may access sa bahay mo. So, ganun po yung ibig sabihin ng last bullet na yun. So, dapat, ang pinang-i-encrypt po natin or pinang-lalak sa ating mga documents is si public key. At ang nagbubukas po nun is si private key. Pero kapag ang private key po yung pinang-lalak natin at ang makakapagbukas si public key, ay parang hindi po maganda yun kasi nga po magkakaroon ng access po sa mga confidential message natin or mga emails yung may taong may hawak ng public key kapag yung private key po yung pinunlock natin. So ang recommended po namin or si PKI naman po ang ginagamit niya po yung third bullet, message encrypted with the public key can be only decrypted by the private key. So ito po for visualization po, ito po yung ating nangyayari sa PKI pag gumagamit po tayo ng PKI. So for example, si sender, gusto niya pong mag-send ng confidential message, for example, is hello world, kay dun sa receiver. So magta-type po siya, and then with the use of PKI, kukunin po niya yung receiver's public key. Kung kanino niya po isi-send, kukunin niya po yung public key nun para yung hello world is i-encrypt niya or magiging, di po ba yung hello world naging po siya, unreadable message dito po sa ating screen. So na-encrypt na po niya yung message gamit po yung receiver's public key at pag natanggap na po ng receiver yung confidential message ni sender, di po ba si receiver's public key po ang ginamit, ang makakapagbukas lang po yung receiver's private key. So yung kakibat or kapartner niyang private key. So ayan po, yung from unreadable message, na-decrypt na po niya hello world. So ang ginamit po ni sender yung receiver's public key at pagka-receive po ni receiver, ginamit po niya ng private key niya para po ma-decrypt po niya yung data or yung message na sinend po sa kanya ni sender. So most probably, ganyan po yung nangyayari kapag gumagamit po tayo ng PKI sa public key cryptography. So, pero po, in real world po, disclaimer po, in real world, kapag ginagamit na po natin yan, hindi po ganyan yung may parang susi-susi. Computer algorithms na po yung gumagawa po niyan. So, ganyan po, for visualization purposes lang po, ayan. Ganyan po ka-secure. So, syempre po may caution pa rin. Paano po, syempre marami pong mga hacker, lalo na po mga magagaling na hacker, paano po kapag na-intercept For example, balik po tayo doon. So, ayan. Si sender, magsisend siya kay receiver ng confidential message. Paano po kung na-intercept siya ng isang third party? For example, si Pedro, na-intercept niya si sender. Ang naibigay na public key is yung public key ni Pedro. At yun yung nagamit ni sender parang i-lock yung confidential message niya. Sino lang po makakapagbukas ng confidential message niya? Di po ba si Pedro lang? Kasi yun po yung partner na pinanlock po ni sender. Kasi po binigay ni Pedro yung kanyang public key dun sa kay sender, which is yun po yung pinanlock niya. So, kasi po wala po siyang kaakibat na identity yung public key. Parang po siya more on cryptography lang po siya. Pero ito po isang main component ng PKI, public key plus the digital certificate. So, ayan po, ito po yung bumubuo sa technology ng PKI. So, ano po ba yung digital certificate? Ito po, comparing po dun dito sa usual certificate na ating nakikita, sabi po sa Cambridge Dictionary, defines certificate as an official document that states that the information on it is true. Example po nito, mga birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, doctor's medical certificate, or school diploma. So sa nakikita po natin dito sa usual certificate natin, nakikita po natin kung sino yung in-issuehan, sino nag-issue, kailan in-issue, so ano po yung organization. So most probably, ganyan din po yung makikita natin sa digital certificate na i-issue sa atin once na we apply for the digital certificate or the PNPKI. So ito pong digital certificate is a very small file issued by a certificate authority. Si certificate authority po, ito po si DICT. As a proof of an individual's or machine's electronic identity. Si certificate authority po, which is the DICT, siya po yung nagbe-vet or nagpa-vouch po ng identity ng users or ni subscribers na associated dun sa in-issue sa kanyang public and private key. Kaya po, face-to-face po yung pag-a-apply po dito. Ngayon po, online verification, video call po ang ginagawa po namin. So, face-to-face pa rin po, through online lang po. Kasi si certificate authority po, siya po yung mag-vet ng identity nyo po na naka-associate dun sa public and private key na in-issue po sa inyo. Next po, isa pong definition niya is an electronic passport that allows a person or computer or organization to exchange information securely over the internet. Kapag na-issuean po kayo ng digital certificate, kapag in-install nyo na po, mapapansin nyo po yung digital certificate po is mga 9 to 10 KB lang po. Small file lang po siya, hindi po siya kumakain ng malaking file sa ating mga computer. At is associated with the public and private key po natin. Ano po ba yung makikita natin sa digital certificate? So, ito po is information about the individual, organization, or computer to which the certificate was issued to. Kung kanino. For example, galing ako kay sa DICT, makikita niyo po doon. Mamaya po, ipapakita ko po yung sample ng digital certificate information na makikita. So, information about the CA who issued the certificate, date issued and expiration, serial number of the certificate holder's public key, at yung other certificate information. So ito po, isa pong example ng aking digital certificate. Ito po yung for authentication CA. Ayan po, makikita nyo po dito, issued to sa akin, Bolocon, Daryl Hermosilla, at kung saan po akong organization belong. So, Department of Information and Communications Technology. For example po, kayo pong mga tiga DepEd, pag mag-apply po kayo, ang makikita po dun sa organization is Department of Education. And then yung organizational unit nyo po. So, Digital Certificate Division, mga serial number, at sino po yung nag-issue Gov Authentication CAs for email signing and encryption. At organization po, may papansin nyo po dyan is DOST po yung nag-issue kasi si PNPKI po, nag-pioneer po niyan si DOST. But syempre po, naging batas na po yung pag-create ni DICT, nilipat na po kay DICT. So, on that transition na rin po yung pagpapalit niyaan, dyan sa nakalagay ng issued by from DOST to DICT po. At yung validity po niya, so, PNPKI po, i-issue po kami ng 2 years validity po. may nagtatanong po bakit 2 years lang, ba't hindi gawing 5 years? So, based po sa research, para po hindi po, kasi hackable po kapag parang 2 years, above 2 years na po. Syempre po, nag-upgrade yung technology natin. So, mas yung mga hackers po, talaga nagtatry-try yan ng code. So, based on the research, so maximum of 2 years, hindi po nila maka-crack or ma-hack po yung digital, yung PKI. So 2 years po yung validity. So, sa akin, nakikita nyo po dyan, March 12, 2019 na issue at mag-expire po siya next year na March 11. So, renewable naman po yung ating digital certificate at free po ito, wala pong bayad. Basta lang po, makapag-produce tayo or makapag-submit tayo ng mga documents po natin na makikita po natin mamaya sa dulo ng aming presentation kung ano po yung mga requirements. So, ayan po yung mga ibang certificate information, mga fingerprints, yan, mga ginagamit po natin. Ito po yung types of digital certificate na ini-issue po namin sa DICT. Si individual certificates, meron pong authentication and signing. Gaya po ng nasabi ko kanina, si authentication, ginagamit po siya sa email signing. For example, yung illustration po namin kanina na si sender may isisend na confidential message. Ang ginagamit po niyang certificate po doon is sa authentication para ma-decrypt or ma-encrypt po yung kanyang confidential message. And then sa signing naman po kapag, ito po ginagamit kapag magda-document signing tayo. Mamaya po, i-demo po ni Engineer Jolo po yung paano po mag-affix ng digital signature sa ating document. Mas ma-appreciate nyo po yun kasi po kapag nag-sign, kasi po usual signature natin, scan lang at i-paste sa ating mga document. Ngayon po, with the use of PKI ng digital signature, ano po, malalaman na po natin kung na-alter ba or na-modified pa yung document na sinign natin using the PKI. So ito po yung ating example ng authentication certificate. Ayan po, makikita rin po yung pangalan, kung saan organizational unit, yung kung ano po yung gamit po nila dito for archiving ng document. So, para syempre sabi nga po nila, people come and go, may nagre-resign, may nagre-retire. So, yung nag-archive ng document na pumipirma, papalit-palit. So, instead na individual certificate po yung i-apply nila, why not agency na lang? Kahit sino po yung umupo, at least hindi na po papalit-palit yung pag-archive, yung signatory ng nag-archive na document po nila. So, yan po yung mga agency certificates. At yung SSL certificates. Ayan. So, sa SSL certificates po, ito po yung mga ini-install natin sa mga machines, sa mga browsers po natin. Yung, kung may makita nyo po yan, yung Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Dapat po yung may SHTTP. Pag may HTTP, hindi po siya secure. Pag may S, yun, may secure. Ibig sabihin po, may SSL certificate po na naka-install po doon. So, pero disclaimer lang po, ngayon po kasi si DICT, so nag-undergo pa po kami sa Web Trust Accreditation. So, secure po siya once na ginamit niyo po yung SSL na ino-offer po namin, but hindi pa po siya Web Trust Accredited. Kaya, ano po, makikita niyo po dun sa lock, kulay orange po siya. So, sabihin po niya hindi po secure, pero secure po siya. Nag-undergo lang po kami ng accreditation. Once na natapos na po namin accreditation, ayan, pwede na po kaming issue ng SSL certificate pag ayan, mga green na po makita nyo, yung HTTPS na rin po at may green na lock. So, yun po, kasi may marami rin po nagtatanong sa amin yung mga SSL certificate kung nag-i-issue pa po kami ngayon. Ngayon po kasi nga po, since nag-Web Trust Accreditation pa po kami, so hindi po muna. Ayan. So next po is, what is a digital signature? A type of electronic signature mathematical scheme for verifying the authenticity, integrity, and non-repudiation of a message, often used to implement electronic signature. So ano po ba yung kaibahan niya sa digital certificate? Di po ba sa digital certificate, ito po yung parang passport ID natin na naka-associate sa ating mga public and private key. So sa digital certificate po, ang binivet po niya is yung mismong user. Yung mismong user. And then sa digital signature, ang binivet po niya is yung document na pinirmahan natin. So si certificate, yung mismong user po yung binavalidate niya, at si digital signature, ang binavalidate po niya yung mismong document na pinirmahan natin. So ito po yung example ng ating digital, ng electronic signature. So meron po tayong yung pirma na ginagawa po natin, usual mga scanned signature natin, yung tick box, ayan, sabi, ay, tick box, ano rin po pala yan, digital signature, yes. Ay, electronic signature, yes po. Kasi po nag-affirm po tayo sa, for example, nakita po natin yan sa mga, sa mga ini-install nating mga app sa ating mobile or sa mga terms and conditions. So, hanapin lang natin yan, tick box, so nag-affirm. So, isa po yung example ng electronic signature. And then the fingerprint, at mismong pangalan natin, at mga voice recording. And then, ito po, yung nakabilog na medyo dark blue is digital signature. Ayan po yung, siguro masasabi ko po na mas safe po sa ibang example ng electronic signature. So mamaya po ipapakita po ni Engineer Jolo po yung pag-affix ng ating digital signature at kung paano po kapag na-modified. Ayan, kung paano niya magkakaroon ng notification. So ayan po. Si Engineer Jolo na po, binibigay ko na po kay Engineer Jolo yung floor para po i-signing demo. Pakita niya po kung ano po yung mga security features na in-offer po ni PNPKI. Thank you po. Stop sharing ko po muna.
Hello po. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat Engineer Dada for explaining dito sa mga ating mga participants yung difference between digital signatures, digital certificates, etc. Sana doon sa discussion ni Engineer Dada, nagkaroon na kayo ng clear na pag-iisip kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa. And then for this session, I will demonstrate on how to digitally sign documents using various PDF readers po. So I will start presenting my screen po. Okay. So can you see my screen po? Just to verify po. So, ito po yung example ng electronic signature and digital signature. So, dito sa electronic signature, kung makikita nyo, it is a scanned photo of my signature. So, bali po, kung makikita nyo po, wala kayong pwedeng gawin sa kanya and there are no means to verify kung ako nga po ba yung naglagay or nag-affix ng aking electronic signature dito sa document. Compare naman natin kung ano yung pinagkaiba niya dito sa digital signature. So kung hinover ko dito yung mouse, iba yung nagpapakita. Dito parang may magpapakitang kamay na pwedeng pindutin. So ibig sabihin, yung mga digital signatures natin is clickable. So click ko lang po para mapakita sa inyo. So ayan, pag tinik po natin yung digital signature, may lalabas po na signature validation status. So ibig sabihin, lahat po ng digital signatures, meron siyang validation status. So pwede natin i-validate yung information na nakalagay kasama noong digital signature. So pwede nyo makita dito sa validation status, the signature is valid, signed by me. So the document has not been modified since the signature was applied. The document is signed by the current user. So pwede nyo rin tingnan yung properties ng signature. So click ko lang po. Ayan. So andito po, makikita po natin, meron din po tayong timestamping na ginamit para dito sa ating digital signature. Ibig sabihin po ng timestamping, yung time na ginamit po for signing is nakasynchronize po sa Philippine Standard Time. So with the use of timestamping, may iwasan po yung tinatawag natin na anti-dating or yung dinuduga natin yung oras ng time ng pagpirma. Kasi sa first, yung default settings po kasi, ang kinukuha niyang time is yung computer clock or yung time doon sa inyong mga computer. So, di ba, pwede namang palitan yung mga time doon. So, that's why we recommend the use of timestamping. So, meron din pong timestamping authority na provide si PNPKI. You just need to copy and paste the link po doon sa settings ng inyong PDF readers. Then makakapag-digitally sign na po kayo with timestamp. So pwede nyo rin pong, balik po tayo, pwede nyo rin pong tingnan yung certificate ng signatory. For example, tingnan natin yung certificate details ko. Click nyo lang po itong show certificate, show signer certificate na button. So, by the way po, itong ginagamit kong application now is Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. Yung free version lang po. So, pwede po kayong gumamit ng free version ng Adobe Reader and makakapag-digitally sign na po kayo. So, dito po, makikita nyo po yung hierarchy ng aking certificate. So, andito yung pangalan ko, yung organization ko, and then kung sino po yung nag-issue, which in this case, yung Gov Signing CA, kasi signing certificate po yung ginamit ko for signing. And then yung issuing CA, DOST, on the process na po on making it DICT. Then makikita niyo po dito yung intended usage, non-repudiation. Kung ano po yung non-repudiation, it will be explained more on detail mamaya ni Engineer Daryl. So, dito rin sa my left side, makikita niyo yung hierarchy ng ating certificates, kung saan siya nanggaling. So, from my certificate issued by Gov Signing CA, then from Gov Signing CA issued under Philippine Government CA, and under yung Philippine Government CA is under ng Philippine Root CA. So, yung Philippine Root CA, ito po yung certificate authority na tinatawag, CA for short, na tawag dito, na tawag doon, siya yung certificate authority na minamanage ng PNPKI. So with this, malalaman nyo na yung certificate ko is issued under PNPKI if under ng Philippine Root CA. And then kung papakialaman nyo pa yung certificates ko, for example, gusto nyo makita yung details, makikita nyo yung different details dyan, and then makikita nyo rin po dito yung public key. Ito po yung public key na tinatawag. So in reality, ito po yung itsura ng public key. So ito po yung ginagamit na string para po ma-lock yung data natin. So by the way po, itong pag-lock, pag-i-encrypt, or lock, in other words, ng data is done automatically. So, hindi na po siya mina-manual encode. So, yung mga kanina po ng mga susi is just a visualization. So, yan po. So, yan po yung isa sa mga features ng digital signature. So, ano naman po if, for example, na-tamper yung document na to? In this case, maglalagay ako ng period somewhere here in the bottom. So, ito po yung magiging itsura niya. So, kung kanina, dito sa ating signature panel, ang lumabas, signed and all signatures are valid. Dito, nung nilagyan ko po ng isang malaking tuldok dito sa ibaba, ang lumabas na po, at least one signature is invalid. Bakit naging invalid? So, makikita dito sa signature panel, merong revision na naganap and na-modify yung document. So ito, signature is invalid. The document has been altered or corrupted since the signature was applied. Then the document is signed by the current user. So Kasi ang ginagamit po na technology din po dito is yung hashing na tinatawag. So yung hash po, para siyang, isa po siyang tawag dito, series of letters and numbers na parang kino-condense niya or pinapaliit niya yung contents ng mga document nyo into one-liner na series of numbers and letters, alphanumeric characters rather. So yun. So yung hash na yun is napaka-sensitive to changes. So once na, for example, maglagay ka nga lang ng dot na maliit or malaki somewhere doon sa document, a totally different hash or a totally different series of alphanumeric numbers will be generated. Yun yung ginagamit na security feature on detecting altered or tampered documents. So ito po yung ginagamit ng digital signatures natin para ma-detect yung alteration. So makikita nyo rin yung signature is invalid because of the alteration. So may nagtatanong din naman sa amin dati, paano kung maraming signatories? Yes, pwede po mag-digitally sign pag multiple signatories. For example po, ito yung after event report namin sa mga trainings na ginaganap namin dati. So ito po, in this case po kasi lahat ng signatories dito is merong mga digital certificates. Kaya sila nakapag-digitally sign. So ayan. Lahat po yan ng mga signatures dyan is clickable. And then ayan. What if in case naman may isang signatory na walang digital certificate kaya hindi siya makapag-digitally sign? For that, ang ginagawa po namin, pinapauna po muna namin lahat ng mga signatories na yung mga mailalagay nila doon sa document is yung mga scanned photos lang ng kanilang mga signature. Kasi, yun nga, once na na-apply mo yun after digital signing, pwede siyang hindi pala pwede. Considered yun as alteration kasi a totally different hash will be generated after doon sa signing. Pero kung nag-digital sign, same hash pa rin naman yung nagagamit, kaya walang issue kapag digital signing. Doon lang nagkaka-issue kapag lalagay lang ng picture ng signature ng signatory. Kasi electronic signature lang yun. So na-discuss din naman kanina ng Engineer Dada yung difference between the electronic signature and the digital signature. So yun po. So let's proceed po with the sample proper. So para lang po makapag-digitally sign dito sa Adobe Acrobat Reader, what you will do, mag-open lang po kayo ng document. For example, itong sample PDF. Punta ko kayo dito sa Tools menu. And then click po itong Certificates. Then lalabas po itong Certificate Toolbar. Pag lumabas po yung Certificate Toolbar, click nyo lang po yung Digitally Sign. Then lalabas po yung crosshair na mouse. So, after po lumabas nito, ang gagawin nyo lang po, click and drag to create a rectangle. So, for demonstration purposes, lalakihan ko lang po yung rectangle para makita po ng lahat yung aking digital signature. So ito po, lalabas yung sign with a digital ID. Pipiliin nyo lang po yung tamang digital certificates for digital signing. So in this case po, kailangan po yung signing certificate ang gagamitin. Yung signing certificate, yun po yung certificate issued by Gov Signing CA. So once maklik po kung ano yung tamang certificate, click lang yung continue. Then, yung default appearance po kasi ng signatures is ganito lang po. Yan po yung default. Pero you can alter the appearance to make it like this po. Ayan, yung katulad nung sa demonstration kanina. To do this, click nyo lang po dito yung create button. Ayan. So after clicking create button, pwede nyo pong customize yung signature appearance. For example, pwede nyo tanggalin yung mga letters, pati yung logo ng Adobe gusto nyo tanggalin, the name, tapos gusto nyo picture lang ng image, browse lang po and then hanapin nyo kung saan yung picture ng image na gusto niyo. Then ayan, pwede pong ganyan lang yung appearance ng digital signature ninyo. Pero, for demonstration purposes, ulit, ganito muna yung gagamitin ko. So, after nyo ma-create yung appearance na gusto niyo for your digital signature, you can click sign and then ayan po, kung makikita nyo, nagtatanong po siya ng panibagong file name. Pwede nyo naman pong i-overwrite yung existing file, pero kasi once po kasi na ma-affix yung digital signature dun sa document, hindi na po siya natatanggal. So we advise to rename the file at to save it in another file name para pwede nyo pong balikan yung old na unsigned file. So for example, lalagyan ko lang po na _signed.pdf. So ayan. So ayan, bago siya makapag-sign, kailangan ko muna yung password doon sa aking private key. Kasi yung private key, ginagamit natin to lock the document sa user side. So, enter ko lang po yung aking password for digital sign. Allow. Then ayan po, signed and all signatures are valid. Oops. Oh, nawala. Ulitin ko lang po. Ayan. So ayan. Sample PDF. Ayan. Signature is valid, signed by me. Tapos pwede nyo rin pong i-click, i-check yung properties niya dito sa certificate viewer, sa show signer certificate. So pwede ko rin po ipakita yung different appearances na pwede po. For example, gusto nyo yung picture lang ng signature nyo, edit nyo lang po. Then uncheck nyo lang po yung ibang file, yung ibang box dito. Ayan, ganyan po. Tapos kung gusto nyo po yung name nyo lang, pwede rin naman po. For example, dito. Edit ko po, name lang ilalagay. Ayan. Pwede po. Tapos, may nagtanong rin po sa amin dati, paano yung mga initial? So, pwede rin pong mag-initial dito. So, di ba, meron tayong kadalasan mga abbreviated, tama ba? Basta yung short signatures na tinatawag, yung mas pinaiksing signature natin. So, pwede rin po digitally signed, then, kunwari lalagay ako ng maliit dito for the initial. Then may nakahanda na akong initial appearance. Kuwari ganyan yung initial. So, ayan. So, ayan po. Pwede rin pong mag-initial na digitally sign. So, kung mapapansin niyo po, lahat po yan is clickable. Ayan. Clickable po lahat yan. And then all of these are considered digital signatures po. So nakadepende na po 'yon sa inyong organization kung anong signature appearance ang gusto nyong lumabas sa inyong mga documents. So ayan. So meron din meron din po pala tayong tinatawag na batch signing. So for example, sa mga trainings, 'di ba? Usually after nag-issue tayo ng mga certificates. Dati nung wala pang COVID, lahat ng mga certificates kadalasan yung picture lang ng pirma yung nilalagay kung soft copy man. And then kung pag hard copy naman, kunwari, what if 100 certificates yung kailangang i-sign? So bali sa siguro first hanggang 20, medyo maayos pa yung pirma ni signatory. Pero pagdating dun sa 100 na certificate, medyo ngalay na yung kamay ni signatory kaya pangit na yung pirma. So with this, meron po tayong feature na tinatawag yung batch signing. For this, may nakahanda po akong series of certificates, sample certificates po. Nilagay ko po sa isang folder, cert sample. And then for this, ang gagamitin ko po for batch signing is DigiSigner. So bali po itong DigiSigner, dati po kasi free to. And then itong ginagamit po namin is old version po. Kasi ngayon po paid version na siya. So bali po yung version namin nito wala ng support. Pero nagagamit pa naman po for batch signing. So how to batch sign po? May mga requirements tayo for batch signing. So bali po, first, dapat lahat ng gusto niyo pong i-batch sign, batch digital sign to be exact, ay nakalagay po sa isang folder. Lahat po dapat. And then at the same time, pare-parehas po yung orientation ng document. And then last, kailangan po nasa isang spot lang po yung paglalagyan niyo po ng digital signature. Kasi yun din po yung magiging spot niya doon sa ibang document. Doon din yung magiging lugar niya sa ibang document kung saan siya ilalagay. So, to batch sign po, gamit yung DigiSigner, click nyo lang po itong sign document naman. Then, click and drag lang din po to create a box. For example po, I will sign on behalf of our division chief, si Engineer Ariel Rodriguez. So, for demonstration purposes lang. So, click and drag po ulit to create a box. And then, always check to select yung certificates issued by GovSigning CA. Kasi ito po yung signing certificate. And then yung signing certificate, yung ginagamit for document signing. Then next, punta po tayo sa batch signing tab. Makikita niyo po dito lahat ng settings. For example, kung anong input directory, kung gusto niyo pang may output directory. In this case, yung output directory is cert sample signed. Pero kung makikita niyo dito, wala pa yung folder, so mag-generate po siya mamaya. You also have the option to add suffix doon sa mga na-signed na files. For example, ito, save signed files with suffix na signed. Then kung na-check nyo na po lahat ng settings, i-click nyo lang po itong batch sign. So as you can see, kinanghingi po ulit siya ng password sa aking private key. So enter ko lang po ulit. And click OK. Then lalabas po yung batch signing report. So hintayin lang po natin matapos itong batch signing report. By the way po, 25 files po lahat itong sinasign niya. Then in a matter of few seconds po, ay medyo mabagal po ang internet. Pero sa normal operation po, mabilis lang po yan. Ayan. Hintayin lang po natin matapos. Medyo di po ako pinakisama ng internet ko ngayon. Hintayin lang po natin matapos. Ayaw ko pakisama ng internet. Tayin po natin. Around 15 na to. Konti na lang. So yun po, medyo dependent lang po sa internet connection natin yung pagsasign, digital signing. Pero pwede rin naman po makapag-sign offline, then once na naka-connect na kayo sa internet, dun nyo po ma-verify yung status nung digital certificate, digital signature rather. So ayan po, ayan, lumabas na po yung successfully signed 25 files. So click nyo lang po yung okay. Then kung makikita nyo po dito sa demo folder, meron po siyang ginawang search sample sign. Para po ma-verify natin kung napirmahan na siya, check po natin yung first, pang 10th, and pang last na file. So, check po natin. Then yung pang last file. Okay. Dito sa first file, around 3:50:34. So 3 o'clock 50 minutes and 34 seconds siya na sign. Then yung pang 10th file, 3:51:25. So yung kanina is 34. Then ito 15:52:33. So in a matter of few minutes po, na-sign niya na yung buong 25 files. So mas ma-appreciate niyo po to, lalo na doon sa mga trainings na more than 100 yung participants. So ayan po, that concludes my demonstration po. I will give the floor back to Engineer Daryl Boloco.
Ayan po. Thank you po, Engineer Jolo. So, continue po tayo dito sa aking presentation. So, malapit na po tayong matapos. Present ko lang po. Ayan, so, lang po. Ayan, so, what is PKI used for? Yung napakita po ni Engineer Jolo kanina. So, PKI provides mechanism for trusted online relationship by ensuring security of digital data and transactions by providing, ito po yung mga core benefits na ino-offer po kapag gumagamit po tayo ng PKI. Yung authentication, confidentiality, integrity, and non-repudiation. So yung authentication po, kanina po napakita po sa demonstration, meron po tayong signature validity status na kapag kapag clinic po natin yon, may makita po tayong itong notification na to. Signature is valid, signed by the user. Makita po niya kung na-modified po ba or na-altered yung isang document after affixing our digital signature. So masisure po natin or masisigurado po natin kung authentic po ba yung ating document kapag na-affix na po natin ang ating digital signature. So, and then, syempre po, confidentiality. Yung sa confidentiality po, by using the public key cryptography nga po, yung technology na po na yon, may ensure po natin yung confidentiality po ng ating document. Tapos po, yung integrity naman po, syempre po, Yan, yung document signing tsaka email signing, malalaman po natin yung integrity niyan dahil nga po dun sa mga notifications at security features po na nakikita po natin doon sa dinemo rin po ni Engineer Jolo. And then ito po yung sinasabi po namin kanina, yung non-repudiation sa document signing po natin. Sa non-repudiation, ang ibig sabihin po kasi niyan, someone cannot deny something po. Kasi ibig sabihin, kung makita nyo po doon sa PNPKI form, sa may subscribers agreement po doon na portion na nag-agree po kayo. Kasi once na na-issuean na po namin kayo ng digital certificate, kayo lang po yung may copy ng private key nyo. So, kapag na-issuehan na po kayo, wala na po kaming copy ng private key. So, kayo lang po yung, si user lang po yung merong full responsibility doon sa private key niya. So, kaya nga po sabi namin, kapag you feel compromise na yung inyong private key, na compromise, parang ATM lang po yan kapag nawala or nanakaw sa inyo, ang una po natin ginagawa, tumatawag tayo sa bangko para i-avoid yung ATM natin. Para kung may makapulot man, tapos yung ATM pa, nandun pa yung PIN number na, yung PIN code natin. So pag may nakapulot, swerte po siya, syempre nandun na yung ATM at PIN, at pag withdraw niya, mawi-withdraw na lahat yung pera. Pero, katulad din po yun ng PKI, yung private key. Once na nalaman niyo po na na-compromise yung private key nyo, tawag lang po kayo sa nag-assist sa inyong RA officers or registration authority officers. Tapos po, o kaya tawag kayo dun sa namin, sa hotline or sa email. Kasi ngayon po sa hotline namin is wala pa kasi sa office po namin, so lahat po kami nag-work from home. Pwede po kayong mag-email po dun sa aming email na ipoprovide mamaya po. So, yun po, para po mapa-revoke yung certificates nyo. Mamaya po kasi, alam po yung nalaman po niya yung private key nyo at gamitin po in bad faith. So, may non-repudiation po kasi yan na marami pong process para mapatunayan na kung hindi po talaga kayo pumirma or may nakakuha po ng inyong private key. So, mas mag-igip po kapag nalaman nyo po na compromise, tawag lang po kayo agad sa RA officer. Okay po. So, ito po yung legal basis for e-signature. Ito po yung isa po is yung Electronic Commerce Act of 2000, RA 8792. Sabi po sa Section 7, Legal Recognition of Electronic Documents. So, electronic documents shall have the legal effect, validity, or enforceability as any other document or legal writing. So, for evidentiary purposes, an electronic document shall be functional equivalent of a written document under existing law. So, sabi po dito, yung electronic document, same weight lang po siya ng ng written document. So, under existing law. So, sa pa po, sa Section 8, Legal Recognition of Electronic Signature. So, electronic signature on the electronic document shall be equivalent to the signature of a person on a written document. So, magka-same weight rin po siya or magka-equivalent po yung electronic signature dun sa wet signature na tinatawag or sa written document po ng person na yon. So, isa rin po sa legal basis ng PNPKI is yung EO 810 series of 2009. So, application of digital signature in e-government services. So, all government agencies and instrumentalities providing e-government services to its client shall require the use of digital signatures in their respective e-government services po. Ito po yung sabi, institutionalizing the certification scheme of digital signatures and directing the application of digital signatures in e-government services. So, panahong 2009 pa po yan. So, ngayon naman po, marami na rin pong nag-apply din sa amin ng mga agencies para tinatry din po nila itong digital signature or certificates po na ina-offer po ni DICT yung PNPKI para mas secure po yung kanilang online transaction. At next po is yung Supreme Court rules sa Rule number 6, Section 1, sabi po dito, an electronic signature or a digital signature authenticated in the manner prescribed hereunder is admissible in evidence as the functional equivalent of the signature of a person on a written document. So, katulad din po kanina, so same weight na rin po siya ng electronic wet signature po natin, yung electronic signature. So isa rin po si GPPB, naglabas po ng resolution niya number 16/2019, last year lang po ito. Yung pag-approve or the approval of the use of digital signature in the procurement related documents. Ayun, katulad po niyan yung mga project procurement management plan, annual plan, ayan po. Makita nyo po yung mga iba't ibang klase mga procurement documents na ina-allow na po yung paggamit ng digital signature. So ito po sa ating traditional workflows. Ayan, so una, mag-create tayo and then piprint po natin yung document. Tapos, ipapasign po natin kay boss. Paano po kung multiple signatories pa po siya at kunyari, or for example, si boss nasa OB or official business. Yan. So, nasa official business siya, nasa trip po siya. Hintayin pa po natin siya makarating sa office or like sa situation natin ngayon, hindi po tayo physically present lahat sa ating opisina. So, medyo may, po doon, balakid nga po sabi nila or meron pong hindrance. Ayan, so sa pagpapasign. Tapos, kapag na-approve na po, i-scan natin, saka po natin pwedeng i-share via email or i-archive po natin, pwede. So, ito po yung usual workflows po natin, yung traditional. But, with the use of PKI, ini-aim po natin na maging less paper or, kasi paperless, kasi pag sinabing paperless, wala po talagang papel. So, kahit po less paper workflows po muna tayo kasi minsan po piniprint po natin yan for archiving. So ito po yung ating less paper workflow. So mag-create tayo and then isa-sign lang po natin. Kung mag-i-edit man po tayo, we do not need to print it na po. So i-edit nyo lang po sa inyong devices, sa inyong laptops or desktop, and then once na okay na po, kahit si boss nasa ibang bansa pa or nasa OB or nasa kanya-kanyang mga bahay, basta may internet connection, pwede po isend sa kanya at pumirma siya. At kung okay na po lahat, pwede na po natin siyang i-share. So, compare po dun sa traditional workflow, so nabawasan po ng mga 40% po at syempre po yung mga papel na ginamit, ink na ginamit, nabawasan na po yun. So, ayan po yung less paper workflows natin. So, ito po yung mga financial benefits. So, yun nga po, reduces cost of paper, ink, and printer. Reduces manpower time in servicing forms, contracts, application. Yung transportation po, yung mga handling, freight, ayan, yung mga courier services po natin. Yan, may mga custom delays din. Tsaka yan, delays in signing, transmitting, approving. Sabi nga po nila, wala na daw pong kawala si boss. Hindi na po pwedeng madahilan na, ay, wala ako sa office, hindi ko mapipirmahan. Sa boss, kapag mayroon kang internet, marireceive mo to, pwede na po kayong pumirma. So, ayan, reduce cost of maintaining physical storage. Ayan, syempre, kapag maraming papel, kailangan natin ng mga cabinet sa office. So, marireduce na po yung, natin yon with the use of this PKI. Tsaka yung mga fraud, yan. Encoding errors, tampering, modification of signed document. Ito po yung mahalaga para hindi po matampered yung mga sinasign natin. Ayan, so reduces cost of lost reputation, credibility due to security leaks and breaches. So ito po yung ating mga PNPKI partners. Ayan, si SEC or Security Exchange Commission. So meron po kasi silang tinatawag na online submission po ng RBCA, yung risk-based capital adequacy po nila, reports na lahat po ng mga brokers nila, nagpapasa po ng bi-monthly ng RBCA. So, hindi na po sila tumatanggap ng wet signature or yung manual signature. Lahat po ng mga brokers po nila, pinag-apply po nila sa amin para makakuha po ng digital signature. Mas secure pa naman po kasi yun at hindi na po kailangan dalhin yung physical copy. So, mas maganda po gamitin ngayon since this is our, sa pandemic nga po, mas maganda pong gamitin yung mga online transaction na secure para po maging tuloy-tuloy pa rin po yung ating trabaho at serbisyong publiko. At next po na ating partners is yung TARO or City Archives and Records Office dun po sa Davao. So sila po yung first LGU to apply as GOVRA. So ang ginamit po nila, may ano po sila dun mayroon po silang system. Kinuha lang po yung aming API para in-merge or in-integrate lang po yung PKI doon sa kanilang system. Yeah, so pumipirma na po sila using their digital signature. So, ayan, ito po yung yung paper-based document management system natin. Yung nakaraan or mga nakikita natin na hindi pa going digitization. So, ayan po, masyadong madami. Paano po kapag absent po si sir na nandiyan nakaupo? Siyempre po, siya lang po nakaalam ng mga pasikot-sikot dyan. Kapag absent siya, hindi na po natin mahanap. At worst comes to worst, paano po kapag nasunog yung isang storage natin ng mga document natin, so hindi na po natin nare-retrieve. Unlike kapag ito, electronic document management system, just one click away, pwede natin in-store sa cloud or sa something secure sa mga ating mga hard drive, yung ating mga document na pinirmahan at i-encrypt pa po natin. Ayan. So, mas secure po yung ating electronic document management system. Sabi nga po nito ni Natarayan, going digital is no longer an option. It is a default na. So, as our technology rises po, dapat sumasabay po tayo sa po ng technology, sa pag-arise or sa pag-innovate, sa pag-prosper ng technology natin nowadays. So, ayan po, Sir JR. Papalabas po namin or papakita po namin sa short video paano po yung online application po namin sa PKI or application po, paano po kayo makapag-avail ng PNPKI. So, unshare ko po, si Sir JR po yung share po ng screen. Thank you po.
Philippine National PKI. PNPKI online application process. Step 1. Access the PNPKI website. Go to https:/dicity.gov.ph/PNPKI. Click on Individual Certificate. Step 2. Download the application form. Click on Application Form. Note that this page also shows the list of requirements. Step 3. Fill out the application form. Open the application form using a PDF reader like Adobe or Foxit. Fill out all the required information in the form. Step 4. Fill out the declaration page. Fill out the date, place, and name of applicant in page 2. It will automatically fill out page 4. Once complete, save the file as PDF. Step 5. Send application form and requirements. Email the application form and scanned copy of supporting documents to info.pnpki@dicity.gov.ph. The PNPKI team will check the completeness of information and submitted requirements. If complete, the PNPKI team will send an email to set up a video call schedule for identity verification and presentation of original documents, IDs, passport, and so forth. Sign page 2 and page 4 during the video call, and submit the signed application form to info.pnpki@dicity.gov.ph. Once the signed application is received, an email will be sent to the applicant's email address within 2 to 3 business days, containing his or her digital certificate download credentials. For more information, visit https://dicity.gov.ph/PNPKI.
Ayan po. Thank you po for sharing, Sir JR. So, balik ko lang po dito sa presentation ko para po yung sa aming contact number po. So, tapos na po tayo sa ating presentation. Tapos na po tayo sa ating presentation. Papakita ko lang po yung contact number po namin if you have any concerns or inquiries po. Ayan, pwede niyo po kaming ma-contact po dito. Ayan, sa DICT. Ayan, kung gusto niyo po pong malaman more about PNPKI, punta lang po kayo sa aming website, dict.gov.ph/PNPKI. And then yung info.pnpki@dict.gov.ph. So responsive naman po talaga yung aming email address kasi po, ito pong sa hotline namin, wala pong sasagot sa inyo kasi nga po lahat po kami is naka-work from home. So thank you po for having us. On behalf po ng aming team, thank you po sa Department of Education for having us to share the awareness po para po sa PNPKI. Ayan po.
Yes. Thank you din po Engineer Bolocon and Engineer Jan Recto. Pero dyan muna kayo, ma'am, kasi
Okay,
I think we have few questions raised by the participants. So for the first one, ang sabi po dito, ma'am, ay ano po kaya ang practical application ng PNPKI sa day-to-day operation ng DepEd? Or to the day-to-day operation sa government, parang ganito.
Sa government po, ayun po, magagamit niyo po sa dinemo po namin, sa document signing. Actually po, ma'am, depende po sa mga, ano po yan, sa policy po. Kung policy po ng agency, for example, sa DepEd, kung ano po yung gagamitan nyo po ng PKI or ng PNPKI sa, for example, sa document signing, once na magsasign po kayo ng mga kailangan na document. At siguro, ma'am, yung sa mga pagsasend nyo po sa email, kung kailangan po naka-email sign para po ma-preserve po yung confidentiality ng message nyo. So, it's all about your policy po or yung mga transaction po sa government para po makapag-create po ng guidelines po for the usage of the digital signature.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So for the information of everybody, I will just share, ma'am. I think it was just yesterday or the other day when there was a planning para for 2021 budget ng regional office. So parang we are gearing towards yung ganito, that's yung sa digital signature kasi I think we are intending to procure yung mga tawag dito, yung gagamitin na parang software. I think what we need here right now, if I'm not mistaken, and if I heard it correctly earlier, ay yung Adobe Reader. Parang ganun, Sir Engineer, like to ano po? Parang Adobe Reader yung kailangan.
Yes po. Yung ginamit ko pong Adobe Reader kanina is yung free version lang po. And then yung mga na-experience ko po na ibang ginagamit ng mga users ng PNPKI is yung Foxit Reader, then meron din pong encounter na Nitro PDF Reader. Yun po. So, nagagamit naman po siya sa different PDF readers po. So, hindi lang po siya limited into Adobe Reader po.
Okay.
Yung PDF Reader na po yun is it supports digital signing feature po. Yun po.
Okay. So kung ganyan yung nagiging plan ng regional office, kasi we are parang it's a part na nung procure namin is yung software na kailangan para nga sa digital signature. So probably if that would be the plan for 2021, there's a great possibility na i-require na, hindi naman i-require, pero at least we will use the digital signature, and if that's the case, baka pwedeng magagawa din yan sa baba. And as earlier said nga ni Engineer Bolocon, it will depend sa mga SDS natin. So for the information lang of everybody, majority of our participants are the head ng district and provincial office namin. Ng city pala and provincial offices namin. So nakadepende din sa kanila kung i-require din nila ang digital signature. But for the regional office, yun nga, as I was saying earlier, parang bumibili na din kami ng software para nga makagamit kami ng digital signature. Okay? So, yan. Just to add up dun sa sinabi ni Engineer Bolocon kanina, nabigyan ko lang ng overview ang sa regional office. So, we have also another question. Ang sabi po dito ay, ano po ang requirements at qualifications ng applicant sa pag-apply ng PNPKI? So kindly give a brief, tawag dito, descriptions ng mga requirements. Kasi sabi kanina is we have to click, di ba? Pero hindi naman nakalagay kung ano yung mga requirements. So probably that was the question nung nagtanong. So ano ang po requirements at qualifications ng applicant sa pag-apply ng PNPKI?
Okay po. So, sa pag-apply po ng PNPKI, kailangan po yung duly accomplished PNPKI form na mada-download po sa aming website. And then, dalawang ID lang po yung kailangan namin is passport and then the UNID. So, kapag absent po yung passport or wala po kayong passport, para pong in replacement po para sa passport is birth certificate. So passport or birth certificate, and then the UMID or UMID. So kung wala po kayong UMID, in replacement po sa UMID, any 2 valid government IDs po will do. So yun po. Syempre po in legal age, saka yung kailangan po is yung ano po yung sa EO 810, syempre po yung sa legal basis po ng PNPKI. So PNPKI is for the government, ano po siya processes po, government transaction. So kaya tulad po ng example ko kanina, si SEC po, yung mga brokers po niya, di po ba mga private po yun? May ano rin po kang mga private na individuals, hindi po sila sa government, na nakakapag-apply pa rin po sila kasi po meron po silang government transaction. So pwede po kayo mag-avail basta po meron po kayong mga government transaction. Ayun po.
To add up na din po, also required po na merong TIN number po yung applicant po for PNPKI po. So, yun po.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you for your answers. So yung next po na tanong sabi dito ay, pwede rin ba mag-apply ang students? May age limit po ba ang applicants?
Pwede po mag-apply ang student. Basta po, yun nga po, kung may TIN, di po ba ang Junior Jolo, kung may TIN number po siya, or ano po, or magpakita po siya ng yung, for example, kasi may mga nare-receive po kami from UP po. Ang sinasabit din po nila sa amin na ID, bukod po dun sa mga IDs po na nabanggit, is yung kanilang school ID para po malaman talaga yung affiliation po nila doon sa isang school or state university and colleges po. Basta po in legal age po.
Okay. Maybe be clarified, Engineer Bolocan. Pwede po ba ang mga estudyante who are below 18 years old?
Estudyante po na below 18 years old, alam ko po, kung may TIN po sila, pwede. Di po ba, Engineer Jolo? But kapag wala po,
yun po. Isa po kasi sa requirements po is yung legal age po. So yun po, ang legal age po kasi is 18 and above po. So unfortunately po, yung mga under 18 po, hindi po makapag-apply po ng digital certificates po.
So thank you for that clarification. At least okay na. Na-clarified na it's only for students who are of legal age. Okay. So ang next question, sir, sabi dito, sir and ma'am, ang sabi ay, if my digital signature is no longer asking for the password, good thing you have already answered it.
Po, yes po. Bali po, sir, nakadepende po kasi yun sa kung ano pong settings na ginawa niyo po upon installation po. So, baka po hindi lang po na-enable yung high security po. So, ang pwede pong gawin, sir, in-install niyo po yung certificate niyo po. Kung nasa inyo pa po yung certificate backup niyo po, then this time po, install niyo po ito with high security po. Para every time na mag-sign po kayo, kagaya po nung kanina, mag-ask po siya ng password po.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. So that was the question raised by Sir Neil. Okay. So thank you daw, sabi ni Sir Neil. Salamat po. So the next question is, this is from Sir John Patrick Balita. So ang sabi niya ay ito, so nasagot, may SDK po ba to or any means to integrate to existing information systems?
Yes po.
Sige. Ikaw na. Si Junior Jolan na po.
Yes po, meron po available SDKs ang PNPKI. So if you're interested po, email lang po sa central team kasi kami lang po yung nag-issue ng SDK at support.pnpki.dict.gov.ph. And then, kung mas maganda po sana kung meron na po siyang request letter po, then it will be subject to approval po ng mga officials po sa amin. Nung director po namin sa Cybersecurity Bureau tsaka nung division chief po namin sa Digital Certificate Division po. Ayun po.
Okay. So, since we have no other questions, so basahin ko lang yung mga nirelay nila dito. So, ang sabi ni Sir Ogayon from SDO Tayaba City, we are already using digital signature in SDO Tayaba City. Okay. So probably the other division offices will apply din for digital signatures. Okay, so thank you po. Thank you Engineer Recto and Engineer Bolocon for that well-explained procedure and processes ninyo sa digital certification.
Thank you din po, ma'am.
Thank you po for inviting us. We hope marami po kayong nalaman and then marami po may uwing knowledge about PNPKI po.
Okay, so thank you sir, thank you ma'am. So for our closing remarks, so we have Albert Daniel Azul, the Provincial Head, DICT Luzon Regional Cluster 2, Rizal Provincial Office.
Hello po. Naririnig po ba ako?
Yes, sir. Clearly,
Hello po.
narinig po namin kayo, sir.
So first of all po, I would like to express my deep gratitude sa DepEd R4A and sa NPC po and sa ating resource person from the PNPKI. So we were here for the efforts of our government to reach out to our countrymen and provide the right to know through this mga data privacy webinars natin. This initiative not only informs the citizens with proper precautions, but also educate how to comply with the proper usage and allocation of one's personal data. So, based dito sa mga natutunan natin, knowing these possibilities and dangers, we should know well to keep the public trust and maintain the safety of the data entrusted to us by our clients. So, public data may be identified as common data for public's knowledge, but restrictions are also given in the provision of the Freedom of Information Act. With this, proper data collection and distinction between public and personal data should never be compromised. So, kasi based dun sa a quote from David Brin, when it comes to privacy and accountability, people always demand the former for themselves and the latter for everyone else. So, alam po natin na mabigat yung accountability natin pag na-mismanage natin yung data ng iba. So, yun po. May everything you learn today become valuable information that you can share and use for better service for data privacy within our communities. So, yun po ulit. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that closing remark. Okay, so that ends our webinar for today. And we will just remind you of our guidelines and reminders we have mentioned earlier, that certificates will be provided to those who have attended the full duration of the webinar, answered the post-evaluation form, passed the quiz with at least 70% points, input valid and active email addresses when filling out the post-evaluation form. So cut-off time is tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. And the webinar may also be viewed again at the Cybersec LC2 YouTube channel. Okay, so sa lahat po ng ating mga participants, fill out lang po yung ating post-evaluation form. Sa ating post-evaluation form, andun din po yung 10 questions ata na kailangan din po ninyong sagutin. Okay. So ito po yung post-evaluation form. Pwede na pong mag-evaluate na po kayo ngayon. So follow the DepEd Calabarzon and the DICT at the following Facebook pages. Yan, sa DepEd Calabarzon, sa DepEd tayo. We have the ICT.gov.ph ata to. Yan. So as the world is increasingly interconnected, everyone shares the responsibility of securing the cyberspace. So that is the words from Niton Lee, Counterterrorism and Cybersecurity, Total Information Awareness. So thank you for attending the seminar. Thank you po sa inyong lahat.